It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 and the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, throw to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday, baby. It is a great day here in the Shy. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. And, man, we have a lot of sports to talk about. You see, I'm wearing my Chicago White Sox house head T-shirt because I'm fired up about my White Sox this weekend. Man, let me tell you, it's going to be one hell of a show. Well, listen, we got to get it going. But listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, then I guess you found us on YouTube. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, because you do it just for the gram, then follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. I would be remiss if I didn't say what's up to my guy. He's the whiz, the man behind the curtain, my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, our producer, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Hey, what's up? Good morning, Shawn. How are you?
Good. Oh, I see you got the Hawks jersey on.
I told you I was ready to go the other day. You know, if we got game one, if they were to do something spectacular or something like just halfway decent, I was going to start with the irrational thoughts, and the irrational thoughts are here.
So you're fired up, man. You're fired up. You're fired up about the Hawks. I am too. I should have worn my Hawks jersey because I don't have a Hawks black baseball hat. I need to get a Chicago black.
See, the thing is, when it comes to the baseball hats, you could just rock your Sox hat, just like I'm rocking my Cubs hat, because this is universal in Chicago.
Right. We come together.
Like players, you know what I'm saying? Like so with the baseball hat, just keep it to your team. I mean, you can keep it to your baseball team, so that way you mix Chicago all into your outfit there.
Maybe I'll switch and go put on a Blackhawk shirt in between segments. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. Hey, well, listen, guys, we got a great show for you, but I need you to get interactive with us today. Give us a call. Actually, no, here's what I need you to do. If you're watching this on Facebook Live, okay, type a question or comment right there on the page, on the post, okay? And guess what? Ivan, my man, the man behind the curtain, he will post it right here on the screen, unless it's really stupid. And don't be sending us no stupid questions, all right? But it'll be right here. We want to get interactive with you, and we'll incorporate your questions or comments as they come along throughout the show. So, it's one that I'm looking forward to. And so today, our guests, man, we got a great one. I'm gonna mention our first guest last, but you know him. He's been with us for a couple of weeks now. But listen, at 10 o'clock, our boy Kenneth Davis is joining me for an hour. We have a lot to talk about with Kenneth. He's of the D and Davis show, so he's going to join me for an hour at 10 o'clock, and then 11 o'clock, Josh Friedman from WGN Sports or GN Sports. He's going to call in. We haven't talked to Josh in a minute, so I look forward to it. He is a big Cub fan as I am a Sox fan. We're going to talk about Cubs with Josh Friedman at 11 o'clock. Now, guys, you know how we do the first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning 2, and these are the hot topics of the night before or just on sports in general. And boy, oh boy, do we have some doozies. And guess what? It's sponsored. It is powered by Chicago Crusader. And with that being said, I want to bring in our first guest. You see him with us. He's with us all the time in the 9 to 10 o'clock hour. He is our boy. He is a social media guy. He is the sports writer over at the Chicago Crusader. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Joseph Phillips. Joseph, what's up, Papa?
What's up, brother? God bless. God bless. How are you?
Oh, good. So they're
I'm
not
back.
in the log cabin anymore. Great.
No, I'm back to the law. I'm back to reality. You see no clouds in the back.
Reality.
Beautiful gray walls and a nice white couch.
Okay. Good. Now I
Yep.
don't have to be jealous of you anymore. Good. But all kidding aside, how was your time out there in the Smoky Mountains?
Oh man, I got a glow on my face right now, man. That was just like, man, it felt so great. I mean, every day was special. Every day produced something new. I mean, I've never seen that many different sceneries since I've you ever looked at a calendar and and each month has their own season. That's how it looked in the mountains.
Right.
It was beautiful.
Oh wow! So the missus had a good time. Little man had a good time.
Oh man, I mean, little man had his own room, king size bed,
Oh my!
50-inch
Oh my
TV.
God.
He had the Xbox. He had the Xbox One X, so he didn't even want us to bother him. And then me and the missus, we had a fireplace, king size bed, see-through shower. It was just beautiful. Man, The whole
And you ain't
night
got to worry about little man. He's in the room with his big old TV and a key.
It was
Nice
perfect, man. It was perfect,
Great.
man. It was like a 2-bedroom home.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Good to. First of all, good to have you back. I'm glad you were able to get away with the family and you all had a good time, man. That's awesome. And the views were amazing. As much as I hated on them, I was just mad because I wasn't in there.
We going
okay,
next year.
Right.
We gonna go next year, man. We're gonna have to take all the fellas up there, man. We just try to hike, do some hiking or something.
Okay.
Fight some bears.
All right. Okay, good.
Cubs.
I feel better. So I'll bring a little piece. If a bear gets too crazy, that pop. I got you. I'm sorry, Papa. It's me or you.
Yeah.
I'm from the South Side. You know how that is.
Yeah, that's the home of the Tennessee Smokies too. So the Cubs. I guess the Cubs minor league team and
Brilliant.
Also, yeah, and the Black Bear, home of the Black Bear. Which us, the Chicago Bears. Like that's kind of like symbolism for us. You know what I mean? So we get to hang out with the real.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to hang out with the real Bears. I'm just saying. I don't know if I'm down with that. That's where that 9 comes in. Like, sucker, I'm sorry. You're big.
Like you stay over here. You stay over there.
But a slug in your mouth or a slug in your eye will stop you in a heartbeat. Trust me.
That's
I don't care
right.
how big you are.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I'm a Southsider. Shoot.
That's right. Hey, brother, trust me. I told y'all on the first show. I said, brothers. I told Lance and Jason. I said, man, brothers aren't used to being in the mountains like this. So when it comes to dealing with rattlesnakes, bears, they had salamanders out there. And all
the other stuff I'm good with, man, as long as it don't kill me.
Right.
I can even look at a scorpion. I can look at a black widow. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Shawn, we almost had a fight with some bats, man.
What?
Yeah, we didn't even know that there was a bat nest on top of the roof of the cabin. So at night we were in the sauna, and here comes the bats flying at us. So we all jumped out of the sauna. I told all my wife,
"Hell yeah,
get in the house." And my wife was trying to evaluate. She was trying to see if it was a bat or not. I was like, look, when the bullets start flying, we're not going to see if it's a bullet or not. We have to run, okay?
I don't care if it's a 9, if it's a 45. Let's run.
We're not about to fight no bat, baby. I ain't got no guns. All I got is a wet body. I'm a target. You can see infrared on me, And then we watched Batman, the original Batman, after that with Michael Keaton. So it was kind of like a bat night, It went along with the theme.
With the party man himself, Jack Nicklaus?
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson?
Yeah. That's right. Does it look like I'm joking? Yeah. He had all the cool lines in there.
Yeah, he did. And plus it's Jack, too. So anything he says.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's better than Jack. I always tell that's the best Batman for me. I always go back and watch it. No matter how bad the special effects were, I can always go back and watch it and compare and contrast it to today's Batman. So
Wait till they get a load of me.
that's right. That's right. Love that Joker. Love that Joker.
This town needs an enema.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. Listen, hey, let's go. Guys, you know how we do this segment again. Top of the morning segment sponsored by the Chicago Crusader, which is why we have our boy Joseph Phillips with us here. The first top of the morning topics by White Sox. Yes, baby. After a 2-4 start, the White Sox sweep the Kansas City Royals with a 9-2 victory yesterday down in Kauffman Stadium. Let me tell you something. Dylan Cease gets he got the win yesterday. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, earned a walk, 4 punch-outs. Dylan looked good. The offense came alive. And you know what? This is what I was concerned about initially. Would this offense come alive? After we got off to a slow start, we still scored a lot of runs, but the pitching seemed to be the issue. Now all of a sudden, the pitching seems to be coming around, looking pretty good. Lucas Giolito had a rough first start, but his second start looked good. 6 innings, and he didn't get the win, but nonetheless, he looked really strong. Dylan Cease yesterday looked strong. My White Sox, I was very happy with them. Good win. And you know what? It's Kansas City. They suck. We're supposed to sweep them, but you know what? We did, and that's the important thing. You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and that's what the White Sox did this weekend.
Exactly. Actually, I wrote a story on it. I talked about how the Chicago White Sox pounded the Kansas City Royals 9-2 and earning their 5th win of the season. And since their 1-4 start last week, the Sox are now riding a 4-game winning streak. Second place in the American League Central Division. Now, here's the big, beautiful surprise out of all of that. Following a Luis Robert 4-hit game on Saturday, recent call-up, Nick, I say Madrigal. Is it Madrigal? Or Madrigal?
If you want to say it in Spanish or Latin, it's Madrigal, but you can say Madrigal.
Madrigal. Okay, so I want to give it this love. Try to roll my R. Okay, Nick Madrigal. Okay, played a big role in the team's win on Sunday, finishing with a career-high 4 hits against the Royals. He also earned his first hit of the season as a rookie after being called up on Friday, I believe. To the Sox. Now, according to Yahoo Sports, the 23-year-old infielder had a pair of hits in the 7-run 7th inning when he scored the go-ahead run and had his first career RBI and barely missed out on a 5-for-5 day on a ground ball in the 9th inning. And last, this is what Nicky said. He says, quote, "It's hard when everyone knows that you hadn't got a hit yet," said Madrigal, who was brought up for the start of the 3-game series Friday night. Quote, "They kind of joke with you and the pressure builds," he said. "But once I saw that first one, the weight was off of me," end quote. So shout out to cousin Nicky, laying it down, his boys. What's that?
When do we put a Spanish accent on Nick Magic?
Oh man, I'm ready for Shawn, bro. Like Shawn got all the cold Spanish phrases, bro. Only Spanish phrase I knew when I was in telemarketing was "un momento por favor." I was number 1 in sales. I should try to win over the Spanish reps too, bro. So I'm learning the phrases, and my wife speaks Spanish too, so she teaching me a little Spanish, just a little bit.
Okay. Hey, you know what? That was a huge win for the White Sox yesterday. Again, you mentioned Nick Madrigal, or Madrigal, if you want. He had 4 for 5 in that 5th one. Oh, it was close. They didn't review it. It was a shot down the first base line, and the first baseman, who was a little slow of foot, tried to beat him to the bag, and apparently he did. I don't know if he did or not. I didn't see a replay when I was watching it. And but Nick's, he's a rookie, all right. He's not going to argue and complain like that. He had 4 hits prior to that, man. But how awesome would that have been? A 5 for 5 game. So you know what? I was happy for the kid, and he's the one kid that I'm not worried about. All right, I'm not worried about. This kid is a true baseball player. All right, his baseball IQ is through the roof. The kid's got a Golden Glove. He was a Golden Glove in the minor leagues last year, so that shores up the middle of our defense. And I'm telling you, whenever you're playing defense, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, when you're not strong up the middle, your defense is going to be weak. you need to make sure that the defense is strong up the middle, which is why you want a good nose guard, which is why you want good linebackers, which is why you want good safeties. If you're not strong up the middle in the NBA, people go down the hole and flush it on you every rip.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You're right.
The same way. You need a good shortstop, second baseman. You need a catcher, shortstop, second baseman, and a good center field. You have those 4 guys defensively if they're solid, then your defense for all intents and purposes will be solid. And and Lori Garcia had a few issues to start the season, but I think they held Nick down for service time issues for help themselves out. I'm talking the White Sox, the organization. But now that he's back and you got a Gold Glover at second base, I think now that defense is going to look really, really good, really, really, really solid. But you know what? Let's move on. Next top of the morning topic. I just talked about being strong up the middle. Tim Anderson gets put on the 10-day injured list with a sore groin. This is a guy who is defensively is one of the most athletic, short and nimble shortstops there are in the league. I put it this way. There's no one more nimble and more athletic than him. There may be some as athletic than him, but not more athletic. And he gets the balls that most shortstops can't get to and makes phenomenal plays. His only issue is the routine ball. And he already had an error to this year dealing with a routine ground ball. Okay. But that's only one. But this guy led the American League in hitting last year. This guy brings a swag to this team. He brings an attitude to this team that it needs. His bat flips are epic. He is like the heart and soul of this team. He fires this team up. So he's out for 10 days. So you get your bat out of that bat out of the lineup. You get his amazing defensive skills. That's out of the lineup. Right. I hope that the Sox can overcome it. They were able to do it yesterday, but I hope they're able to overcome this because that dude is a lot. He means a lot to this team, and not just on the field, off the field. That attitude that he has, that swag that he has, that he spreads off to Jose Abreu, to Yoel Moncada, to Eloy Jimenez, to Luis. I think Luis Robert has enough of his own swag. I don't think he needs any of Tim Anderson. But those other guys, they feed off of him, and I think unfortunately for the Sox, they got another 9 games without him, and hopefully he can come back 100% healthy.
Yes, Tim is definitely you guys pretty much table setter. Remember I was talking about Dexter Fowler, how he was like the Cubs table setter, even though he was cool, low key, but he knew his role. He knew how important it was. And then he was a leader on top of that. He knew how to get along with all his teammates. And Tim is the same way. Tim, very fiery leader, got the amazing bat flip last year, remember that? Got that whole Ricky Henderson. You remember how Ricky Henderson used to do the bat flips, I'm the greatest of all time, Ricky Henderson. After filling all those bases. But what I'm saying is that Tim is a table setter, and we're going to need Tim back. And I'm going to tell you, from my coach perspective, we need y'all to beat the Brewers this week. Because, we're right now we're sitting pretty in first place with a 7-2 record. And they're like 3-3, so we need them to take all the losses that they can get. So you guys play them this week. That's correct?
Yes, we do.
So please, guys, we're going to do y'all a favor. We're going to try to handle Kansas City for y'all. And when we talked about this, Shawn, helping each other out. Here we go. The deal is on the table. We're going to take care of Kansas City, and you guys take care of the Brewers for us.
I need you to take care of Minnesota. That's right. I need you to take care of take care of Minnesota. Them jokers, I know, man. Those guys
they're like a thorn to y'all flesh. I already know.
Man.
I feel sorry for y'all sometimes because they kind of like the version of the Brewers against us. They just know how to beat you the wrong way, like the right way. Like not only just beat you, but make you feel angry about it,
them and all their freaking home runs that they hit. God bless it. Let me tell you, that's so you do that for us, and we'll do that. You watch my back, I'll watch yours. You know what I mean?
You got you, brother. But I don't want to get too cocky because Kansas City, like I said, it's nothing like an American League lineup. For some reason, they know how to turn it on against National League pitching because I guess they get to see more pitchers with DHs and stuff. And like I said, at the end of the day, I think this would be the first game that the Cubs play with a DH. I believe. Isn't it the first time they'll be implementing the DH?
No, they should.
For both sides, or how is that going?
No, it's been they have the DH. The DH is universal just through the season, just for the season, so across the board. So they've had one. They've had one up to this point. It's just that they have. It's just this season. The National League's gonna have the DH.
Okay,
so,
well, perfect. So that should work out fine for us tonight. But like I said, I'm not going to get cocky because we can have a bad pitching outing and Kansas City will get hot, and next thing you know, we're back to where we started. You see what I mean? So, so I hope for the best. I hope we can actually take care of business against Kansas City so we can help you guys out and vice versa. But at the end of the day, Tim Anderson is a big part in that. He'll be out for 10 days, so he probably won't be a part of this series. But like you said, you guys got a lot of young talent through that lineup, and they make some mistakes down the middle, and you can make them pay, you know.
The next top of the morning topic, we talked about this already. Nick Madrigal with a 4-for-5 day, garnering his first Major League Baseball hit. And I'll tell you what, I was so happy for the kid. You know, it sucked. You know, he had the other day, it was a Friday, I believe, they had his family on. They had him on a Zoom call watching the game. There's a lot of pressure. You know, it's a lot of pressure. You know, he went 0 for 8 for Friday and Saturday, and just, you know what? I liked his demeanor about it. Like he missed it, he's like, oh, okay, all right, I'll get another one. You know, he missed it, he grounded out, he grounded his double play. Oh man, all right, I'll get another one. And even under his own admission, he said as the at-bats started piling up, you know, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, you know, you feel the pressure. You know, you feel the pressure because you're a College World Series champion, you know, at Oregon State. You're a Gold Glover. You have the ability to knock the head out of the ball, not power-wise, but slap it all over the field. And you can't get on track. He's been successful at every level, and now at this point, at the highest level, now he has yet to get that first hit, that first taste of success, and he finally got it. And I felt bad for his family, you know, because they were all, you know, they're on pins and needles, you know, and mom's like, oh, you see, you know how moms get a little, you know, they're so emotional about their babies, and you know, every time when he hit into the double play, mom was, you know, frustrated and understandable, but. He got off the schneid yesterday, his first at bat, boom, got a base hit. And it's so funny. Steve Stone said something earlier. He said, you know what? He goes, Nick Madrigal reminds me of a guy who once he gets his first hit, he goes the second and third are sure to follow. And sure enough, he went 4 for 4 before that final at bat. And I was just happy for the kid. And as he said, you know, the weight came off his shoulders after the first one, and now he could just play ball. And you saw what happens when the kid's comfortable. He's 4 for 5. So he was batting 0. You know, after Friday and Saturday, and then after a 4 for 5 day, he's batting 308. So now he's in the 300s.
Right. He's actually where he belongs. You know, like you said, when he was at Oregon State, you know, I mean, this guy was relentless. You know, like he can work the count, he can hit the singles, doubles, triples, etc. Then he was a Golden Glove college, you know, position player. So all the resources, all of the tangibles are there for him to be a great major leaguer. And then who would you say his comp would be as far as by the end of his career?
Wow. His comp. Whew.
Who would you compare him to?
Dustin Pedroia.
Oh, Dustin. Okay, from Boston. Okay. Little Dustin. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good comp right there.
Okay.
I think he might have a little more speed, or he's a lot quicker than Dustin. But because man, that Joker could scoot down the line, boy. Woo, he can scoot. And they talked about him.
You're a little man too.
Yeah, he is. They talked about him being a good base stealer as well. So you know, his comp. I'm trying to think of speedy second baseman, but I mean, I guess I'd have to take that part out of it and think of something else. I mean. His Gold Glove ability, his with that quickness, his range is good. His ability to slap the ball all over the field. You know, I mean, he got a base hit to left center, he got a base hit to right. You know, so the thing that I love about him is he doesn't try and do too much with the pitch. If it's outside, he'll take it to right field. If it's down the middle or inside, then he'll go back up the middle or pull it. His baseball IQ is a thing that has been really talked about and harped on, and you saw a lot of it I saw a lot of it in the first 2 games when he didn't get down on himself and he stayed confident in himself, frustrated but confident. And that's when you know, like, okay, what's your base? You realize you're in the bigs now. You're in the show. You're not dealing with AAA pitchers. You're not dealing with college pitchers. You're dealing with grown-ass men who get paid millions and millions of dollars to get you out.
Stop.
Okay, guys have been in the league, who've been playing baseball longer than you've been alive. You know what I mean? So he kept his focus. He kept his composure. I was a big fan of Nick Madrigal over the weekend. And a couple times, it was one inning they had said, I think it was Friday, they said no baseballs had gotten hit to him. And then, like, all of a sudden, like, boom, 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 3 in a row got hit to him.
Right.
And, man, he'd gobble them up, toss it over to first in a heartbeat. And I loved it. I love this kid. I can't wait to see how well he progresses. And he's going to be a great person to turn over that lineup from the number 9 spot, because with his ability, like usually your ninth hitter is probably like your worst hitter. Our lineup is stacked, and this guy, if he could turn it over to Tim Anderson or Lewis Robert, then now we're cooking with gas.
Wait till you guys get that rhythm and that chemistry, man. Like I said, everything we talked about last week, they made the adjustments. You see what I mean? Like I even saw Grandal, even though he had 3 RBIs yesterday, they had him in the DH role. We were talking about that and how you can move him in and out of those lineups. And a lot of these guys can be chameleons in these lineups. You see what I mean? Yeah. Where the deeper you go down, you think you can relax as a pitcher, you're not going to get any breaks. And then in addition to that, when you were speaking of Mandrigal, his first ground outs, him making a defensive play. I was going to ask you guys this question. Do you guys remember growing up playing softball, pick up softball, and you walk up to a game in the park and you'd be like, hey, can I get in, and then you steady just waiting for that first ball to come to you. I know that feeling. It's a good feeling when you make that first play, that first catch. So I can, baseball is my childhood dream. I always loved baseball, so I definitely can relate to how he felt after actually getting some action from a defensive perspective and then getting 4 knocks on Sunday, from an offensive perspective.
Well, so we got to take a quick break. And on the other side of the break, guys, we have more top of the morning topics. We're going to get to talk about your Cubs, Joseph, on the other side. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey guys, it's your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I want to talk to you about my good friends over at the Hispanic Business Network, Carmen and Rogelio. They're having their annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. The proceeds benefit Hispanic Business Network Scholarship Fund for first-generation college students. Now, you've already been on the course many a time this year, so your clubs are ready to golf for a good cause. And by the look of it, it sounds like you're going to call in sick on Friday, August 7th. So listen, to register your foursome, go to the website, hbn-chicago.com. Or if you'd just like to donate, go to the website, again, hbn-chicago.com, and click on the donate button. Plus, Shawn and Maya will be broadcasting live from the Carriage Greens Country Club for the event, where we'll have surprise celebrity guests throughout the show. So listen, make plans to attend the Hispanic Business Network annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. So to register your foursome or to just donate, go to hbn-chicago.com. Once again, hbn-chicago.com. So don't meet us there, beat us there.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. That was our first half of our opening segment, top of the morning to you. And I'm joined by my guy Joseph Phillips from the Chicago Crusader. He's the editor over there. And our top of the morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader. And let's move on to the next top of the morning topic. I know you're gonna be fired up about this one, Bubba. Cubs. They pulled out the brooms over the Pittsburgh Pirates yesterday with a 2-1 victory in 11 innings. Javi with the walk-off. That's the man right there. You were talking about swag on the south side with Tim Anderson. That's your swag boy right there. And on the north side, Javi Baez.
El Mago. Hey, he does what he does. And he came up in the 10th inning. And this is our first extra inning game. And also our first time seeing a rule where they place the guy automatically on second base. So it worked out perfectly in spite of a great pitching performance by John Lester and us improving to 7-2 on the season. Now, Pittsburgh Pirates, I know over the past couple of years, they've been really giving us a hard time every now and then. We'll struggle with them. But this week, we actually laid down the sweep on them, And now Cubs are 7-2 in first place. Brewers I think the Cardinals and the Brewers are right behind us. Correct, Ivan?
Yeah, Brewers then Cardinals.
That's right.
I'm actually wrong. Brewers then Reds.
Then the Reds. Oh, let me show them some love. No disrespect to them. But like I said, if the Cubs continue to stay humble, continue to build, continue to work these at-bats, because I'm noticing with this lineup, the difference between the Joe Madden lineup and the David Ross lineup is that they're working the counts. And which is what made them great during that World Series run, because they had guys like Ben Zobrist, who was a situational hitter, and he'll work the count. He'll get at least 11 to 12 pitches before you make a decision. Either you're going to draw a walk or you're going to poke the ball to right, center, or left field. So from top to bottom, we get production. We're getting good at bats. We're playing fundamentally sound baseball. And we're well coached. So only thing we got to do is stay humble. Don't let our egos rise. And just continue to beat the teams we can beat. And then when it comes to the hard teams, it's either make or break. You see what I mean? You're gonna run into those starters that are just, unstoppable. But when you're winning, you'll find a way to beat them. Whether it's 1-0, 5-0, 2-0, 3-0, etc. So we've earned all 7 of our wins, in addition to the win streak that we're on today.
I'll tell you what, it's been interesting to see you guys. You came out the gate and you guys weren't playing around, and remember what we had mentioned earlier, that a team that's a little more veteran team, which the Cubs are, despite the fact they're like 26, 27, they're a veteran team. They've been through the wars. You go to 3 state NLCSs, that's experience for your ass right there. There's no better teacher than experience. And so the lack of spring training, with Rizzo trimming down and realizing that and being a leader that he has been his entire stint with the Cubs, this team, and then with a new manager, because don't forget, guys, we're going to talk at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk with Josh Fried from WGN Sports. Like I said, he's as big a Cub fan as I am a Sox fan. And so, and I'm going to ask him this question, and I'm going to pose it to you guys as well. How big of an impact is David Ross for this team this year?
You want to go, Joseph?
No, you take it out. I'll go after you.
So I said this before to a few people. I think if the Cubs are going to make it far, it's going to be because of David Ross. Look at the flip that they've had to start this season. The past couple seasons we haven't, with under Joe Madden, rocky starts, very rocky starts, and then you saw the inconsistency throughout the season, which ended up in one real quick playoff appearance, and then you go ahead and don't even get there the next year. So for me, it's like, look at this 7-2 start is all David Ross. The focus, the focus, the chip on their shoulder that they look like they're playing with, the bullpen, the bullpen, as rough as it's been, he's plugging in pieces. He's trying to find the guys that are going to gel, and then the rotation. Those rotation guys look great. Whatever they've been doing, whatever they've been doing, I want to acclimate it to regain a refocus like a rejuvenation because of David Ross, a kick in the butt, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, so they got a real wake up call. And when he came in, it's like, we're all expecting. We didn't know what to expect. He's a first year manager. Is he going to make the right moves? Is he going to be a guy that we're going to become frustrated with early on? And then, all of a sudden, this ain't the guy. We're back at square one. But he's not. The Cubs look focused. The Cubs look determined. And honestly, I don't look at. They're healthy. They're healthy. They don't have anybody with. I mean, knock on wood. They haven't gotten anybody hurt. Nobody's contracted COVID. They're right now. They're doing all the right things to play ball to get through this season. So I mean, for me, I mean, look, they're only 7-2. It's only 1 week through the season. But if they can continue this upward trend, I mean, who else do you point to but David Ross? This is the same team. This is the same core we had. The core is supposed to be the ones that carry us. The core is supposed to do I guess they're supposed to carry the load, and everybody else should follow suit. They're the same guys we've had for the past 2 seasons that we couldn't get going, that were inconsistent. Look what they're doing now. If he can sustain this, although it's only 60 games, who else do you point to but David Ross? Right.
I totally agree, Ivan. So when it comes to David Ross, his DNA matches the Cubs. Okay. I think there's a lot of intangibles that comes with David Ross's leadership. One of them that I noticed was the reestablishment of the relationship between Theo Epstein and the players. Because at first, a lot of the players weren't feeling what Theo was doing post World Series, because a lot of guys, he had to get rid of, and then there was a lot of contractual issues. But when Rossi came, he was able to be that mediator between management and players, where players can focus on doing their jobs versus focusing on the outside distractions that can really affect your everyday play. Mm-hmm. And when you have a combination of veteran and young players, and you bring them together and mesh them together, sometimes you can come out with a balanced team. But without the covering of a leader like David Ross, who had the DNA playing for over 7 Major League Baseball teams, including the World Series champion Boston Red Sox, in addition to breaking the biggest curse in professional sports history, the 2016 Chicago Cubs, he's not afraid of anything. You see what I mean? He's fearless. And now he's trying to implement his blueprint onto the players. And I think it never really left. I think, like you said last week, they really missed David Ross. Like he was always around the team after he retired, and they was like, man, we miss you in the locker room. But now he's the coach, and he still has those same working relationships, those interpersonal relationships. But in addition to that, he still has to micromanage them. He still has to be the authoritarian, and it's starting to show on the field.
I think just real quick, I don't know if, as far as the micromanaging, I think he just has the respect. So he really doesn't have to micromanage, because if he had to micromanage, I think if he had to micromanage, you would see a team that's probably around 500 or worse, right. And the team would still, there would be a bigger problem than just Joe Madden if he had to micromanage these guys. What
I was saying is that there's a more hands-on approach. Joe Madden was hands-off. He was like, you guys self-governs. We win, we win. If we lose, let's get them tomorrow. But with David Ross, it's like every inning counts, every pitch counts. So in that case, there's accountability there. You can't take a play off. You see what I mean? Yes. And it's almost like having your dad standing over you after he told you to take the garbage out.
Okay.
He wants to see if you're gonna move when he says move, and then after your mama asked you an hour earlier to do it, and you still ain't moved, you about to get your butt kicked. You see what I mean? So that's how Rossi is, even though he shows them a lot of tough love. But when he says something, he means it. And I believe the players actually listen and they follow through, especially a guy like a Wilson Contreras, who the other day, I guess one of the Pittsburgh Pirates pitchers threw a nice pitch at him, and the dude yelled on the mound, and Contreras was like, blank you, like, screw you. And then the dugout was like, hey, calm that down. This ain't about individuality. Don't get thrown out. You see what I mean? This ain't that type of party no more. We have a goal in mind. We can make history with these 60 games, whether it's an asterisk next to it or not. Let's take an opportunity of this window that's open for us and see if we can make history again 4 years later. So all I'm saying, David Ross, even though you may not think it's micromanaged, but I think it's a Major League Baseball version of micromanager where I can see that he's telling them just stick to the fundamentals. Don't try to step outside of your zone. Just stick with it. And then when it comes to at-bats, work the count. Don't try to do anything fancy. I saw Javier Baez lay down a bunt, and I haven't seen him do that in a long time. You see what I mean?
In a little while.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that they're back to thinking how they were in 2016, which is perfect because that's what made us so dangerous. We had leadoff hitters working the count. We had two-hole hitters working the count. We had the cleanup hitters working the count. And then you got down to the bottom, every now and then, you may get a 2-run shot, a 3-run shot, and before you know it, the game is out of reach. So let's stick to what's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
You know what? I think I'll tell you what. I think that Ross. I'm a big fan of Ross. I like his coaching style. As I mentioned last week, you think of all the coaches that have won, and except for Madden, all of them have been pretty hard, been very strict and very demanding of their players. I mean, we'll go back to Mike Ditka. We'll go back to Ozzie. Obviously, Coach Q. Okay. Phil was a little more laid back, but Phil, put it this way, Phil laid the law down and then kind of chilled, and then he let Michael lay the law down. Okay.
Yeah.
Phil getting your ass if he needed to. If Phil saw he needed to go ahead and address something, he'd address it.
But Phil also had a veteran team as well, where they weren't the only guy who was wilding out was Dennis, and you knew that was just Dennis being Dennis. So now you look at all these teams, and then there's a common for 4 out of the 5 teams. There's a common denominator. You got coaches who run it. It's theirs, and it's their show. You know what I mean? And I think it's a great thing that Rossi has. For me, that's the way I was raised. But also, you see the importance of the fundamentals. You see the importance of routine. Baseball players, routine is everything for them.
Right.
And, when you don't take batting practice or don't take fielding practice every single day, well, yeah, it can mess with you. So I like his style. I'm very surprised that they're 7-2. I thought the rotation was going to give them problems, and that's been one of their strengths is the rotation. And it hasn't been an issue for them. And if they continue to go along this way, you're not going to need much help from us because you're going to do the beating of the Milwaukees and the St. Louises and everything. But I'm very impressed with the way that they started off this first week, and see how it goes from there. I don't think it's going to ease up because I don't think Ross is going to ease up. Ross is not that kind of guy to take it easy when things are going well. When things are going well is when he puts more pressure on. Okay, and I think that's what these youngsters need. Because they're still youngsters at 26, 27. You're talking 28, 29, 30s when you hit your prime as a baseball player. And these guys are, they need that. They need that tough love, and Rossi's there to give it to them.
And Shawn and Ivan, just to add to what you guys were saying, also, another thing that Rossi doesn't allow is for the Cubs to beat themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He takes away that margin of error because we lost a lot of games. That's how we fell short last year of the playoffs because we were beating ourselves with our bullpen or somebody made a stupid error or a stupid mistake on a base, and bail someone out, getting them out of the inning. We have runners in scoring position. We just didn't execute, so he's just teaching them away with all the philosophy and the Joe Madden quotes, which are nice and everything, don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure, like Joe Madden used to say. So now it's kind of no, I want you to focus in on every pitch, every possession, every inning, and play the game from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you gave it your all, win or lose,
Yeah, what I think you're saying, but I also think in watching and listening to Ross, focus on the process. Don't focus on the results.
Right.
And that's if you focus on the process, the results will take care of themselves. The Cubs are too talented of a team for those results not to come. All right. I mean, how many times the last couple of years, and I would tease all my Cub fan friends, like, about their record, and they're not making it, or their talent was nothing I could balk at, because they're one of the more talented teams in Major League Baseball. All right. And regardless of the fact that they struggled, there was something else. It wasn't the talent. The talent has never been the issue.
Right.
Okay. But now the talent seems to be focused. After 2016, the talent wasn't as focused. The old saying, it's hard to get to the mountaintop. It's even harder to stay there.
Yeah.
And in baseball, it's so difficult, because then you have the injury bug. You have a whole bunch of other things. You have people leaving via free agency. You have other teams stacking up, getting better. There's a whole bunch of different factors that play along in a baseball and it's professional sports in general. So it's not an easy thing. And this might just be the kick in the pants that this Cubs team needs, because when you stay focused on the process, the results, as I said, will take care of themselves. And right now, I think he's got them focused on the process. And the process is the fundamentals, is batting practice, is situational hitting, is laying a butt down when your name is Javi Baez, and you can knock it out whenever the hell you want. But you're not for the good of the team. You need to get a guy over. Okay, right. You don't have to do it yourself. And then what that shows trust in your teammates. And I think in 2016 they had a lot of trust in each other. They were young and dumb and just full of talent, and just were able to talent everybody. Right. But now things have changed. Now you have to play fundamental baseball, a lot of times, and you have to play the percentages some of the times, and not just try and go for the home run. And it's going to make this team better, because if the Cubs can start beating you by small ball, they can beat you with the long ball.
Yeah.
Whether it's Bryant, whether it's Rizzo, whether it's Contreras, whether it's Schwarber, okay, they can beat you with the long ball. Now they're going to beat you short with small ball as well, and now you have to kind of, we talked about this earlier. People don't defend it. People don't bunt a lot anymore. So it means you don't practice your throws on bunts. You don't practice your defense on bunts. You don't do that. So it makes them a lot more potent a team when you got a Javi Baez up there and you got everybody back, because you know what he can do, and all of a sudden he lays down a bunt. And now he beats it out, and now he can act a fool on a base pass and get in the pitcher's mind and leave one hanging over the plate.
Don't act a fool on the base pass, but but you know what I'm talking about, where he gets in the mind of the pitcher, because he can steal a base, and God forbid that the ball squeaks away, he's going, and now you have to pick up the ball. First baseman has to pick up the ball and make a good throw. Because if you make a bad throw, guess what? Now he's on third. So the thing that Baez brings is baseball IQ, and his smart and his desire, his hustle. That's one thing you can never say about Javi Baez, is that Joker does not hustle. He hustles every single play. So I love what's going on with the guys on the north side, and it's gonna be interesting to see. Well, listen, the next topic we got kind of I hate to rebut you there, Ivan, but Chris Bryant is in the COVID protocol. He voluntarily went in. Last week he thanked Mike Moustakas from the Reds while going into the COVID-19 protocol, and for self-reporting. And Chris Bryant did the same thing, which means he probably doesn't have it. He may have been around people who have it. So talk to me about what you think how it's gonna affect this team with no Chris Bryant. Well, I think to start, Chris was struggling. He was struggling at the plate, but I think the Cubs will be all right. Maybe he needs some time off. Maybe this is just something in his head, like the slow start. But as far as COVID, I thought it was a stomach. He started not feeling well, like his stomach, and he just did. The smart thing. He did the smart thing and went in and said, "Hey, I want to get tested or what have you." But I think Chris is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to hurt the Cubs as much, because look what we're seeing. We got the Royals next for four games. We got a 4-game set with the Royals. You know what I mean? Then who do we play next? I think we might have the Cardinals after that. We will be all right without Chris if he's only in a 10-day quarantine or something like that. But if it's something else, which I don't think it's anything worse than that. It's nothing physical. I don't believe. I think it's. But nothing physical as far as it's not his arm, it's not his knee, it's not, you know what I mean. But
right.
But we'll be all right. I think we'll be all right as long as Chris, when he comes back, he's comfortable, he's ready to go. He's not worried that he has, worried about that COVID-19 is not on his mind. that he's healthy, safe, and I think he'll find his groove soon.
Yes, I totally agree. After missing on his second consecutive game, and then the COVID-19 test that he had, both of them came back negative. Actually, he's taking the test this morning, probably as we speak. So just to see if we can get him back in the lineup for Monday night game against the Royals. Now, in addition to his performance on the field, like I said, he sacrificed a lot being a leadoff hitter. A lot of times as a leadoff hitter, you may be taking walks. You see what I mean? You may be asked to do things, where a pitch that you normally would take, and knock it out to right field, you might knock it to a single or double or triple. What I'm saying is that his mindset is a lot different as a leadoff hitter than it is as, you see what I mean, a number 3 hitter, number 4 hitter. So
it has to be. Yeah,
so that's what's going on now as far as this, but it's working because we got 7 wins out of that. Even though we got a win without him yesterday and I guess the day before yesterday, but we still need him in his lineup. And when he's on, he's on. And like I said, if he can hit for power and for average,
I think
I'm sorry, go ahead. That's Shawn. Okay.
I think we might have lost Shawn. We'll see if he comes back.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is that when he can hit for power and for average, then the lineup can flourish. And then in addition to David Ross adding discipline to a talented lineup, along with Brian's bat, the sky's the limit.
Right. And like I said, with Chris, he always has these slow starts. You know what I mean? Like he always has these slow starts. And he doesn't normally just jump out and all of a sudden he's hitting like 500 and he has 4 home runs to start the season. It's just not what he's done so far. But I think he'll be all right. I'm not scared right now. If first of all, I don't think it's anything. I think Chris did the right thing going into protocol and making sure he's all right. But I don't think it's going to be anything, and he's going to be right back in the lineup. And when he does, hopefully it's only like about a week or two till he heats up. He just needs to see some pitching. You know what I mean? They're just coming back from 4 months being out, like starting up and then sitting out 4 months, not knowing what's gonna happen, being in limbo, and then trying to go ahead in a week, a week of practice, and then go right out and try to play major league ball games. Like you got to give him some time to warm up.
Right, and I like that combo where we can add in the leadoff spot with the combination of Nico Horner and Jason Kipnis. Like how they're changing. And it'll probably allow Chris to fall into a spot where he can see some pitches, maybe a little bit after Rizzo or, a little bit in between Rizzo and Reyes.
I kind of like him at the leadoff.
Yeah, I like him too. Because you're going to actually get a legit count.
Right.
The count, because you're not going to be able to just bail out and throw him anything. You see what I mean? It's not going to be an easy out. And then in addition to that, let me tell you something special about that. It's teaching Chris Bryant how to lay off pitches too, because he actually struggled with that. Getting lead off is actually teaching him to be patient, so that when he gets back into that 3-hole or that cleanup spot, you see what I mean? He'll be able to work that count just like he'll work a leadoff count and actually get better pitches to hit. Because I watched him swing at some bad pitches outside the zone. And it was very frustrating to watch that. But now, since he's in the leadoff spot, it's teaching him how to be patient in the count. And then in addition to that, it's making him an on-base machine. You see what I mean? He may be getting a lot of hits, but he's getting on base.
We want our best base runner on base too. You know what I mean?
Exactly. He's a good base runner, because most of the runs I see on the highlights, I'm seeing Chris Bryant running across the home plate, like tagging up, like high five. Hey, I got here on the walk, I got here on the bunt, I got here, you see what I mean, on the single. Right. But the bottom line is I'm crossing home plate because I'm trusting the guys behind me to pretty much bring me in. And then, like I was saying with David Ross, he's adding discipline to a talented lineup where everybody's on the same accord. Everybody's working the count now, including Chris Bryant. So we can interchange him from the top to the middle to the bottom. Wherever we ask you to play, just go in there and do your job. So whether he's sick with an illness or not, I think he's going to come back and be productive.
Yeah.
I don't think the Cubs are going to struggle as much as people think, just because of exactly what you said, Joseph. Is that people are taking every at bat with the small amount of games. Every at bat is even more paramount. Every pitch is even more important. It has a higher value than a 162 game season. So these guys seem locked in. They seem to be, you talk about working the count, man. That gets to a pitcher. But not only does it get to a pitcher, it allows your teammates to see what he's got. It allows your teammates to see, okay, this is what in this on a 2-strike count, he likes to go here. When you got a 1-2 or a 1-1 count, here's what he likes to throw. So you're able to see a lot of his stuff. You're able to start to look at patterns that the pitcher likes, because we're all creatures of habit.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why catchers are so important, to try and break habits from pitchers. Like don't always go to that wipeout slider on 2 strikes, because people, opponents are going to know about it and going to lay off. Come with a straight change. Someone come with something else. Some pitchers are leery about it because it's their wipeout pitch and they're comfortable with it. But guess what? Then all of a sudden your team, the opposition knows, and you're allowing the more pitches that you give, you have it in a bat. The more your teammates see, like, okay, this is what his slider can do. Here's what his changeup can do. Here's how, oh, wow, this is a nasty one. I got to be leery of that. It gives you more options if you're on the on-deck circle, if you're in the hole. It gives you a great look as to what this guy's got, because now this guy's going to throw his best stuff because he's trying to get you out after 7 pitches, after 8 pitches, after 9 pitches. It's like, all right, let me get this dude out, because I don't want a 15-pitch at bat with one guy and there's nobody out. So right. The way their approach to the plate has been something that's been surprising to me. But once I sat back and thought about it, like, no, it's not as surprising as I initially thought, because David Ross, what did we talk about? The fundamentals. And if you're not going to, when you're dealing with the fundamentals, if you need to, at the plate, you don't swing at stuff that's not a ball. I mean, it's not a strike. You don't swing at that. And that's helped them a great deal. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. Joseph, thank you again for joining us today, buddy. We appreciate it. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you online.
All right, guys, just to let you know, if you want to read some of the stories that I've written this week, which would be on the Cubs defeating the Pirates, sweeping them actually over the weekend, the White Sox actually sweeping the Kansas City Royals this weekend. And in addition to that, I'll be doing a story on Black Business Month. So you can tune into ChicagoCrusader.com, check me out, and feel free to share the stories.
So next year, you said you want us all to go down, because I think that'd be a good trip down to the Tennessee Mountains.
Yeah, man, we got to all come together, all the fellas, man. We can make it a Cubs Sox trip, man. You know what? What are some of the things that you did down there? Like, I mean, did you hiking? Do some canoeing? You do some drowned at the water park, man. Like what? I'm telling you, you get breaking news right here, bro. I was sliding. I was trying to show off in front of my wife, because my wife, I told her I don't like getting on these high rides and stuff. So I get on this slide, right? The dude tells me, take my shirt off. So I was like, really? So he said, take your shirt off. So I took my shirt off, and I get on the slide, man. So I close my eyes, thinking that, I'm going to go like stop at the end of the slide.
Uh-huh.
Why? I went straight underwater, man, and water went all in my eyes, my nose. I woke up like people were looking around. My wife was laughing. My son was laughing. I was so embarrassed. But after I finished choking and coughing up all the chlorine in my mouth, everything was okay. But it was the best moment on the trip, though.
Hey, great stuff, Papa. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, guys. Bless y'all. Peace.
All right, now don't go anywhere, folks. On the other side of the break, we got our guy Kenneth Davis coming up. We're going to talk a little baseball with my fellow White Sox fan, man. A little bit of hockey. So don't go anywhere, folks. Kenneth Davis coming up next right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The stretch and the pitch. Baez hits a base hit up the middle, cut the game.
A sharp single, a line drive right back through the box. The Cubs win it by a score of 2-1 in 11 innings. David Bodie comes in to score.
Cubs radio with the call. Javier Baez with the game-winning single in 11 innings, 2-1 the final. Pittsburgh led it 1-0 through 5.5, but the Cubs evened it up in the bottom of the fifth. Kyle Schwarber with a run-scoring double.
And the 2-2 is on the ground into center field, a base hit. Robert will turn third. He's on his way toward the plate. He is going to score.
White Sox radio with the call, part of a 9-2 assault on the road at Kansas City. Sox prospect Nick Madrigal with the first 4 hits of his big league career. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330-95.9 The Zone.
Indeed knows you've got big goals for your business, and we understand hiring is a crucial part of that. You need to hire people who will make a real impact. Indeed can help you find those important hires faster while paying only for what you need without any long-term contracts, thanks to our super flexible payment options. Start finding your important hire today with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high impact. That's Indeed.com/high impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Just got done with our first hour of the show. 1 hour went quick, fast, in a hurry. So you know what? I want to bring in my guy. He comes in. He joins us every Monday, especially at the 10 o'clock hour. He's a good friend of the program. He is from the D and Davis Show. He is our boy, and you can find him on Twitter at That's Davis. Guys, welcome in Kenneth Davis. Kenneth, what's up, Papa? How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
How about them White Sox, baby?
Dude, real quick, though. How'd you let Joseph get off of here and you didn't ask him how deep the water was?
That's
you
true.
had to ask him how deep so we could have really rolled on him. Because if he could have stood up and he was fine, like how deep was this water that he went into? That was the question. I was like, please, Sean, ask him how deep this water is. If his family is laughing, that would imply that it's not a life and death type of situation. I just wondered, like,
it had to be about 3 feet. You know, maybe 4.
He said he went straight down, but I mean, like, how deep? I have to know that why he's enjoying his life. All y'all are doing the most right now. I really feel bad for myself. You're in Michigan every other weekend. He's in Big Sky Country, Tennessee, at big time water parks, and I'm stranded at home worried about COVID. Something needs to change over in my direction. But yeah, man, the Sox, both sides, shout out to Ivan, both sides of town. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone, you beat up on the people that you're supposed to beat up on. It was the first week. So when you look at the Royals record, they were better than, and again, it's just a 1 week sample size. They were better than what we all expected, but it was just a week. Right? They are supposed to be the team in the Central that everybody gets fat off of. So, yeah, you want the Sox to take that one last victory in the last series and then to come and sweep this. What do you always say? Look, for the most part, just win the series, right? So those are 3 wins right there. So actually you can kind of throw one back on the last series that you lost. But you sat there, you got 2 good – you got 3, but you won this series. You're starting it. And listen, what did you say Friday? I was like, I wasn't sure, right? We had the full Cuban lineup on the starter floor with the 4 linemen. I mean, as far as your man, Robert, leading off, you said you wanted Robert leading off. I said, Sean, I don't know if I want him doing that. You said, listen, I'm going to give my man his flowers while he's here. You said, I want Robert to lead off. He led off. We got our man, Yohan Makata. We sit there. We got Coach Jose, and then you got Grand Dog, man. And we freeing countries over here on the South Side. See, that's the thing about the North Side, man. We out here freeing people on the South Side, baby, man. We breaking people together, man. We solving problems in the world. I don't care about this on the North Side, man. But yeah, listen, dude. I mean, it feels good. You know what I'm saying? Especially especially with the fact that we joke about it, but it may seem like, we may not get this season over. Listen, it would be worse if we don't, if the season ends. If this season ends and our team was playing badly majority of this abbreviated season, that would definitely suck. You look at the fact Dylan Cease yesterday came out there rebounding. Another thing too that we're seeing is these pitchers come out, have a bad outing. They're not coming out the second out and have another bad outing. Now, whenever and if Ronaldo returns, we'll see if that works out for him. But you see Cease coming in there. You saw last week when Giolito came in there. We're not worried about Dallas Keuchel. We saw Gio Gonzalez finally get out there and do his thing. Mm-hmm. So you definitely do. You have to like it. Sometimes necessarily it's not an explosion of offense, but it's enough, which I'll definitely take when they're not having anything. So I'm excited. I'm enjoying it. It's a great time. I was thinking this morning, watching some stuff, some Sox stuff, and I'm going to the future, right? So you tell me when I'm getting too crazy, right? So I'm just looking at him, and I'm thinking about what you said, like, man, throw him in leadoff, forget it. This dude is an animal, right? And I'm like, so how long does it take? Now, smack me if I get crazy. How long does it take before, like maybe 3 years, 4 years, he starts to get in the argument of being up there with Mookie and Mike Trout, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'm just looking at his skill set. I mean, the thing is we're focusing on his offense, and the thing that we've been told is this dude is crazy out there defensively, but it seems like you can't give him too much on the offensive end, and this is his first time in the majors. It's like, dude, and now I'm like, all right, like you always say, like I'm a homer. I know I'm being a homer. But I'm like, dude, what's this dude's contract gonna look like?
Well, no, luckily the Sox signed him, so he's good.
No, he got 5 years. I'm talking about the next one. I mean, yeah, that's the sign. I'm just going because it's like he's so crazy, and it's like, dude, in 5 years, right? What is his value going to be? Because of course,
$500 million.
Yeah, dude, they're not going to sit there. And I know now I'm going far, but they're not going. They're going to take those 2 arbitration years and be like, listen, we got 2 years of control of you, so let's do something with that. Let's try to come to something. But it's like, dude, if this kid stays here is one thing. If he gets better, not just better, but progressively better than what he is now. Dude, we talked about when I first came back on who this team belonged to, me, you, and Ivan. Shout out to Ivan. And we were talking about Tim Anderson. I think we still got to the point of what happens with Robert if Robert is Robert. And dude, Tim Anderson, listen, he may not have his team this year, but next year, if this kid keeps doing his thing, it doesn't even matter if he doesn't speak English. He's going to no, I'm not even saying it in a disrespectful manner.
No, I feel you. I know.
I'm just saying it from the point of when, like, baseball people already know. You know what I'm saying? You can see where he's rated at as far as prospects. Baseball people already know. But when the laymen start to be like, what is going on in Chicago, right? And I mean, when have we had a guy like, we haven't had a guy like this since what, Big Frank? I'm not saying not just saying both sides of I know, yeah. I'm just saying as far as where you have to argue he was one of the absolute best at what he was doing. Big Frank. And at one point, it's as far as hitting, his first 7 years, Big Frank was up there with Babe Ruth. All right. So, and we're talking about that was a guy that, he played first base, but he wasn't good at first base. So you knew he was going to end up at DH. This is a guy doing it on both sides of the ball. So, dude, then Nick Magical finally Sunday. Because that's what I was saying. I was saying that the first 2 games, Nick seemed like he had the hiccups in the exhibition season. He did. He just, and for every, yeah. And it's common. I'm not even dissing him because from everything that we've seen, he's a hitter. He's a hitter's hitter, right? May not be for power, but this guy he can put the ball in play. So you knew that was going to happen. But that's why I was one of the people that was like, from day one, he has to. Even though to say we're out in Schaumburg, wherever, how much is he really getting? As far as put to the fire, as far as growing as a player. But you sit there, you got the second baseman. We know how well he can defend. All right, he finally got 4 hits yesterday. That's what you want to see. I mean, when we get to the point where hopefully when he's off of the IL, when Mazzara is hitting ninth, a dude that maybe can hit 20, be like, throw Mazzara to the back, right? Like, I mean, it's
dude, let's not forget about Adam Engel. Engel. Man, first of all, you put Adam Engel. I mean, you might only need 2 outfielders.
You're right.
Put Adam in right center. Put put Lewis Robert in left center, and that's it.
Somebody's gonna get hurt. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
I'm telling you, or put someone in short center like they have in softball. You know what I mean? So it's like the ground that those two can cover. And the one thing that happened that I thought that I was really, really happy about, because I watched it a lot the last two games. The other day when Lewis Robert ran like 60, 80 yards, whatever it was, and jumped and took that fly ball from Leori Garcia in right field. And I was pissed about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was livid. Now he's not doing that. So I don't know if I would imagine that Renteria had to talk with him, because you see him flying. Yes, the last couple of days, you see him just flying behind the guy just to back up like you're supposed to.
Make sure.
Make sure, like, hey, you don't got to do everything. All right, don't do more than necessary. Let your teammate trust your teammates. And every time there's a fly ball to one of the gaps, I look to see. And a couple of times it was more toward left or more toward right than the gap. But you see him flying right behind his guy to back his guy up in case something happened. He didn't go and he didn't take over and say, hey, I'm the fastest guy in the world. Watch me get to that. I thought that was good. And that's one, we talk smack about Ricky all the time and not being a guy. I got to give him props for that, because I can almost guarantee you that Ricky said, come here. Man, I got. Don't do that again. Don't do that again.
I really, you brought that up, and that's what you want to see. You don't want him out there rocking the boat. Definitely want him to get a feeler of how dangerous he can be, but you don't want him disrespecting and showing up anybody out there. So definitely back him up in case he misses the ball. But it also, one thing I want to say,
one thing to add to your point. Do you know, as of today, according to WAR, there's only one person with a higher WAR than Lewis Robert, and that's Mike Yastrzemski. Lewis Robert is second in the major leagues in WAR at a 0.8. Yaz is 1.0, and right now Lewis Robert's tied with the judge at 0.8, and that's as a rookie.
It's too much. Listen, I'm about to sound real corny. I feel like I don't deserve this, right? Like, that's how bad it's been being a Sox fan. Like, I feel like me, not me. I don't deserve 5-2. All of that. Listen, I was happy with what you gave me last year, right? I'm just like, dude. I mean, look, listen. I have to tell the old lady, right? I have to be like, listen. I know you're on your phone, but you have to watch him. And I know you think I'm just throwing plaudits at him. I'm telling you, this dude is extra freak. He's the freakiest dude out there. I'm like, you have to watch him. Like, I know it doesn't seem like it, but dude, he was just running the bases. And I was like, just look at him. All right.
He beat out. You saw the double play, the tailor-made double play. It was a one-hopper to the second baseman.
Do this. I'm like,
and he beats it out.
Dude, listen, that was the play. I said, he's not supposed to be able to do that. Right? Like, he's not supposed to. So it's, dude, I'm feeling Rick Hahn right now. Again,
Mr. Hahn, again.
I'll talk to him again. With this season being what it is, it's sad. But you know what? That's me being a glass half full and not half empty. I mean, a half empty and not half full person, because I should enjoy what I have when I have it instead of worrying about something being snatched away from me. So I'm going to look at it on the positive side, regardless of if the season is finished or not, that I at least got to enjoy all of these phenomenal players. But dude, there's a chance, man. There's a chance that the next guy up as Mike Trout gets older, you know what I'm saying? And still he'll be, I mean, come on, he's arguably the greatest player of all time as he gets old. But there's a chance that we got us one. And that's crazy, dude. I wouldn't have thought. And then again, I'm just focusing on that. But we're still looking at Yoan being.
Yoan's a 0.5 WAR.
Dude, I'm gonna say it like.
But didn't I tell you? Those are the two guys who are gonna be fighting for MVP on the same team. The same team. And then Eloy, God forbid, man, if Eloy wasn't so soft and he could stay like, oh, my shoulder hurt, ran into the wall. Okay, pull your tampon out. Sorry, but I get so mad.
Sean.
I get so mad because, dude, you run into a wall. Okay, you don't get me started with the softness of him. But anyway, if he stays, dude, this guy can be hitting 35, 40 homers a year, and that would automatically, with this decent left field play, that'll put you in the MVP conversation. You most likely won't get it, but put you in the conversation. If you start hitting 35, 40 home runs, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 years in a row, all of a sudden now that's your thing. Like, man, you got to look at this guy's going to hit 40 home runs. And when your name is consistently in there, you'll be in the conversation. Like I said, most likely you're not a front runner, but man, how crazy would that be to have 3 people in the conversation, 2 legitimate and 1 in the conversation? I agree with you in the point where to a certain extent, like, man, I don't know if I would say I don't deserve it. I just can't believe it. From 1 through 9, now that you got Madrigal, 1 through 9, dude. I mean, at the worst, 1 8.
Dude, what if there's this is still one of the things. What if there's still a couple people down there that they weren't drafted in the first few rounds? And this also be the thing, like you can put this on the Cubs, right? Even though, like, there have been teams like the Dodgers who have brought up prospects and still had players that come out of their system, and the system they traded. They traded for Mookie Betts. They made trades, and they still had players come from their system. It wasn't like, you know what, when we were bad, we just had those high draft picks, and after that, everything's done. You are supposed to still be able to produce quality players, even if they're just players that can fill a position that you necessarily need. They don't have to be stars. But even just say, like, what if there's a couple guys that we're not even focusing on? I'm not even talking about Devons and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're talking about the Louis Basabes, the outfield.
Yeah, like, what if Basabe gets it if it clicks, right? Like, just so, like, listen, I need to know if Ricky's the guy, because, man, I don't know how long this beautiful thing is going to last, man. And then also, man, shout out. I don't just even want to hate. I mean, then again, it's the Pirates or whatever, but shout out to what the Cubs are doing, man. Like, did you look at the stability that they've started to show in the bullpen and starting to kind of figure some things out? Man, that Craig Kimbrell situation. I'm looking over here like, baby, that's not the way
he's done,
dude. And you hate that. And this was always my thing. When are we gonna get Carl Crawford, Gonzalez, Theo Epstein, right? Where it's like, you know what? I ain't got it. I always wonder when we were gonna get that back end of the Red Sox, when Theo would start spending money, right? And it was like
trying to make something happen.
Right. And it's like, dude, some of your free agent pickups have they definitely Hayward help. But when you
gotta tell me.
Yeah, but when you look at Kimbrell and dude, it's like, whoa, and you're kind of supposed to know that. It's not my job sitting here at home to know how many bullets he has, why so many teams necessarily didn't go for him. And we know that teams waited until they wouldn't have to give up any type of draft pick situations to that. That was gone last year. But still, and of course, we were talking about this last week as far as why they weren't going to be a strike, because the big-time players are getting paid. And really to see why they should be is because players like Kimbrell and Dallas Keuchel how they were doing them. That's where, because they're still big-time players. But since you're not the top, the alphas in the market, we're going to treat you how we want to treat you, basically. But in that guy being a guy that no one was like, I need him right now, you got to kind of be like, I don't know, kind of right now. But still, listen, playing phenomenal. I'm not the type of person where it's like, I wish some ill will on the Cubs. Also, just for what we do, it makes for better conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because if they were 0-7 or 0-9, whatever, we wouldn't have anything to talk about. Oh, they're bad. All right, let's move on to another topic. Basically.
Yeah, we're gonna keep clowning them for how, what I mean?
Yeah, like how long can we necessarily do that? So I mean, for all of Chicago, we're talking about being in this COVID situation. Why wouldn't you want the other side of town to be happy? Well, I'm sitting on the south side, man. I want y'all to be stuck in the house and have just bad. No, dude, I want people to enjoy this. We are going through some stuff right now. You look at, and I know it's a different topic, but you look at what McCourty out there with the Patriots talking about how the NFL is shortening up the time period where the players can opt out or whatever. And listen, I know we can look at it like, man, they're rich, whatever. And they're human beings, all right. And you risking something because we've all played sports, dog. You're playing football with COVID. That's some totally different ish right there, all right. Because basically we're saying we all getting it. Because if one of us, I mean, for real, if one of us got it, okay, the running back has it. So we already know both the trenches are gonna get it. That's all. That's a given. All right, offensive, defensive lineman, you're catching it. All right, and these guys are obese. All right, you know what I'm saying? We was doing the Loris Home interview, and I mean, Shawn, you know it. We know how much weight offensive linemen carry. They're, regardless of how healthy they are, they're obese. You're not supposed to be 300 and something pounds walking around. No, you're not supposed to maintain that weight. You know what I'm saying? So they're already on the list of what you got to look out for. Let alone, the brothers probably got hypertension. If they, how much calories they have to pack on to maintain that weight. You know what I'm saying? So they probably got high blood pressure and they're obese. And we like, man, just go out in the tanks, right? Like, I'm just not that type of savage. All right, I'm just again, listen, they're grown men. You're getting paid for what you're getting paid for. I'm happy right now. It seems like, and it's also crazy. So the White Sox, getting back to when we started with, so the White Sox are the team that knows how to stay away from COVID. You know how crazy it is. I don't want to jinx that. Let me knock on wood.
Don't forget, Johan had it.
Yeah, but it was before we got into the bubble. It was before we got to not the bubble, but before he came in, he got his out the way. He was, let me get my sugar right now. Right? he got his out the way. But if you're telling me that basically, to a certain degree, our guys are being extremely cautious, and they're young guys, like.
Here's one of the reasons I think that's affecting or not affecting the Sox is you have guys who are good soldiers, okay, extremely talented. Especially, you come here and a lot of times immigrants don't want to make waves and for whatever reason, right or wrong, okay, and you're just good soldiers. You work hard. They just happen to be extremely talented. We're talking Eloy, we're talking Johan, we're talking Lewis. And Jose, okay, and I think with the leadership of Jose Abreu, okay, because all those guys look up to him for him being the Cuban superstar that he was in the national team for so many years. What he says goes, and it really resonates with those Hispanic players deeply. It resonates, okay. And if he's like, hey, listen, if you've trained, because we've seen how, the eye that Luis Robert has is amazing. All right, we knew the eye that Yoel Moncada had is amazing. We're starting to see Eloy now. Starting to gain another eye. So all the things they pick up from Jose Abreu are unbelievable. And one of the things I think is Jose seems to be a very like a good soldier type of guy. Okay. And if he says, don't do this, I think it carries a lot more weight than somebody else saying, don't do that, because this is their idol. And yeah, if we can keep everybody away, keep COVID out of our locker room, our clubhouse, man, I think there's a really good shot for the Sox to do some damage in the American League, and because what if the judge gets it? And I'm not wishing it on anybody. Okay, but what if he gets it? Or what if someone else? What if Mookie Betts gets it? What if, you know what I mean? What if one of these stars gets it, and all of a sudden one or two other players get it? Because sometimes you're just asymptomatic. And you don't realize it. Next thing you know, you hang with your boys. You didn't wear your mask today. You're like, ha, 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 ha. Oh, my bad, dude. Sorry. You know what I mean? It happens. And all of a sudden now, you know what I mean? So I think the Sox have a good a shot as any. And I think that with the leadership of you got to start with Ricky. He's the anything good or bad, it's got to start with that. It trickles down.
Got to give him his props.
And I'm sure he said it, and I'm sure it's echoed by Jose Abreu, and right now, thank wood, the COVID situation has kind of stayed away from us, and thank goodness, because we have a squad. And the thing you said, Ken, even if the season does get done early, I assume that next year in 2021 we should be back to normal. Imagine this squad in 162 games. Once Luis Robert has already seen all the pitchers in the major leagues, okay, and Yoel Moncada has already gone. I told you he's tied for 30. He's 30th in WAR. He's tied with 15 other people. Okay, at 0.5. Okay. So now we got these guys. Okay, on a whole season,
dude.
I would say one thing about Ricky though, and it's going to be the good. The good it'll be addressed. It'll be shown, but the bad will be highlighted to the extreme. Look what he did in the first week. He has the Cadillac. He needs to get it right. Ricky needs to get it right. If Ricky doesn't get it right, if little things keep you out of the playoffs this year with a team that should be in the playoffs, I don't care how young they are, If it keeps you out of the playoffs or you have lackluster performances there, Ricky's got to go.
I agree. But I'll say this. We can say that the Grandal starting the opener thing instead of McCain with Giolito usually going with that. We know that's because Yasmani was one of the jewels that came in, and you want to reward him with – I mean, he is the catcher, all right? So you want to reward him with the opening day. Now, the Nicky Delmonico stuff, because I would have just probably had Engel out there. Now, that's listen, I know you want to be trying to go lefty righty, but dude, you need to let that one go. All right, like you need to let that one go. Now we shouldn't have as many hiccups with necessarily having your super platoon guy in Lurie. You don't have to worry about him as much as second because you got Magical right there. So some of the stuff is taken out of his hands now. You would think he just has to make, still going what you're saying, the common sense plays. And listen, think about this. Guys, I mean, let me give Ricky some props right now. I'm about to give him some uber props. Last year, if this was last season, and you sat there and you had TA go down, Tim Anderson, he wouldn't have put Lewis Robert in first. Remember, we were asking him last year with Tim Anderson, like, dog, run him up. He would have put something else there, and he would have kept Lewis Robert at seventh, and that's where he would have had him at. He wouldn't what's that?
Put Nicky Delmonico or something.
Right, exactly, right. He wouldn't have put him at leadoff. You know what I'm saying? And I think of course, they were knowledgeable enough to want to have your first four batters come from all Cuban born players. So I'm sure that definitely added to why it got done necessarily. But they usually wouldn't. It also goes to tell you what they really think of Lewis Robert, because some of that stuff isn't just Ricky. I mean, you work with the front office in this stuff. They're just not like, do whatever you want, Ricky. No, they're like, hey, we want to see this or whatever. They're telling you a lot. Not dissing Tim Anderson. They're telling you a lot what they think this kid is basically do everything for them to be like this early, like, yeah, go ahead up there, and for him to just basically snap. I mean, oh my.
1 for 4 yesterday. 1 for 4 for Lewis Robert. And you give me that. And the thing about, first of all, he's been a leadoff hitter his entire career. Okay. So this is nothing new to him. Okay, people said, well, protect him. Protect him from what?
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get bit by a dog. He's not going to get eaten by a shark. Protect him for what? Okay, it's a 60-game season. All you say is this is an extended spring training for you. Okay, so you don't have to deal with the cold weather like everybody else had in the past. Okay, in April. Okay, you come in, it's 85, 90 degrees. So there's no reason to start off slow. Mm-hmm. So he did well. Here's the thing, and I think and let me know if I'm wrong, if I speak for you, but I don't see any moment being too big for him.
Mm-hmm.
He can handle every moment, and you don't find that with. I mean, the moment was a little too big for Madrigal. He was trying. And he was still stayed, a good soldier and still stayed focused. But for Lewis Robert, it just seems to come at ease when you watch him. If he strikes out, okay, good. If he strikes out again, good. Because and you talked about when you were talking about having the old lady, Mike, watch him. He's one of those guys. I think by the end of this season, this shortened season, he's going to be one of those guys that when he's up, you stop what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You stop what you're doing for that 2, 5, 7, 10 pitch at bat to see what he does, because it might be special. And then if he gets on base, you got to sit and watch, because who knows, he might steal second and third. Okay, he might advance on a ball that got literally 6 inches away from the catcher and beat out the throw. These are the things that this guy is capable of, and this is why he's so electric, and this is why he's going to be so engaging. Once he begins to smile a little more, and I know this sounds weird, but once he gets to smile a little more and learns a little bit of English,
brother's got to be out there smiling and shit, huh?
No, but he's got to be like, give a little smirk. No, give a little smirk, because you know what? That makes you marketable. And all of a sudden they're gonna be like, you know what? I want the 88 jersey. He smiles. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying cheese it up.
Make him feel comfortable, Lewis Robert. You
got to make him feel comfortable, because you darkity dark. I'm just saying.
Oh, Shawn.
I'm saying,
is he not?
You're crossing the line.
Is he not?
So okay, you can be dark skinned and not grin all day long.
Okay, you can scare, and then you can scare a hell of a lot of people.
Oh well, for them. Listen, that's their fault.
Hey, I agree with you. I want him to make I want him to maximize his earning potential on the field and off the field.
I like to listen. real quick. So it's funny, in the interview that we did with Lawrence, me and Dee's last interview together, he's gonna do something on Roberto Clemente, and he was talking about how because Roberto Clemente was a proud Black man, but also a proud Latino, and that's kind of been destroyed. People don't really focus on that anymore. And I mean, I know that from hearing stories of like Roberto Clemente with Hank Aaron and those guys, and like hearing him talk and stuff like that. But it kind of goes into what we're saying, like as far as like, listen, brothers don't have to smile for me. I get what you say. He needs to make his money, right? But if you don't like him, blickety blickety blick. What we said was Friday would be. Like, okay, let's not like, because listen, I'll put it like this: since we're gonna play the game, if he was a white cat and he did that, they'd be like, man, he's just so hard in it. Right? And that's why I don't think you'd be like, that white boy needs to smile for me. He's so intense with what he does. But a brother is like,
no, you're right. I agree with you. I'm just saying I want him to make that money. I don't want him to smile all the time. I just want every once in a while to be like, just to give a little smile, like you know what, my Mickey Ficky name. You know what I'm saying, and give a little bit of attitude. You know what I'm saying?
He needs a smirk. He don't need a smile. He needs a smirk.
Yeah, he did a little smirk.
He can like slide little like like.
No, I know. But you know what?
I got the juice now. Like, you know what I mean?
In this discussion, though, and I know we're joking, but one thing it probably leads to is how serious he is. Because I think at one point he'll become more jovial, but right now it's focused on what he needs to be doing right now because he's trying to, he's trying to prove a point. Like, and that everything, and we're trying to like. Well, I remember saying this right with me and D. I was early. Me and D didn't even have a show then. I was in November, I believe, the year Derrick Rose won MVP. I was like, you know what? And I know before that season, he already made the comment, Derrick Rose.
Why can't I be MVP?
Why can't I be MVP? Around November, I was like, dude, he has he can get this MVP because LeBron, and I hate when I hear people in LeBron's camp be like, he really feels like that was his MVP. Dog, you can't go to another man's team and win an MVP that first year. You know those rules. Don't even act like that applies. No. You went to another man's squad. Even if Bosh and Wade went to Cleveland, it still would have diminished your chances because you formed that much talent. But you went to someone else's team, so you out that year basically. I mean, you could be in the top 5, the top 3, but no, you're hurting yourself. So slow down. But the thing was, when Derrick Rose came out of Memphis, I remember me and my buddy talking. Was like, yeah, he had a nice pure point, but you know what I'm saying. He is scoring. We made a joke was when he started tasting that blood in his mouth like a shark, and he was like, I like this scoring shit, right? And it changed the player that he was from just being a facilitator. Remember that championship game with Simeon, from just being a facilitator to being like, no, I can do everything and be at the top peak, getting all the way back to Robert. I think because we're so early in, and like just when I was just saying this, that man, looking at him, I'm like, wait, this could be a top 3 player. This could be perhaps the best player in the MLB. But I'm saying that like he doesn't know that. And the point that I'm getting to is when we're talking about how serious he is, it's because this dude has goals and he's going after those goals. And I mean, it's like we're just finding out about this right now because he's been in the minor leagues, even though we've been watching the minors
since he was 12.
Since he's been big TV in the minor leagues. I mean, we've seen that the last few years. Yeah. But like, I don't think that we get his makeup yet. One, especially for me, compared to you, there is a language barrier. But just 2, because right now he may not be as comfortable, but also just like his focus and his drive. And I mean, I think one thing that we haven't really thought about is just his mental makeup. Because when Shawn, you were just talking, and it alluded to something when you were just talking about something not being too big for him. You know what else that says though? Like we're focusing on his mind, but he has all the tools too. Like you don't get a package like this. It's very rare to get someone who mentally can, one, stay in the moment. Mm-hmm. Nothing's too big for them. While hitting, can figure out, still being young and haven't seen these pictures yet, what he wants to do. All right, and one thing you alluded to Jose Abreu, because I still don't think people realize, I know, and I'm going to sound facetious saying this, the craftsman when it comes to hitting that Jose Abreu is.
Yeah. That's amazing. Hey, Do me a favor. Hold up. We got to take a quick 1 minute break. We got to talk about our guys at Hispanic Business Network. Speaking of Latinos and Hispanics, we got to take a quick break, talk about their golf outing. I mean, we'll be right back. So stay right here, guys. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey guys, it's your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I want to talk to you about my good friends over at the Hispanic Business Network, Carmen and Rogelio. They're having their annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. The proceeds benefit Hispanic Business Network Scholarship Fund for first-generation college students. Now, you've already been on the course many a time this year, so your clubs are ready to golf for a good cause. And by the look of it, it sounds like you're going to call in sick on Friday, August 7th. So listen, to register your foursome, go to the website, hbn-chicago.com. Or if you'd just like to donate, go to the website, again, hbn-chicago.com, and click on the donate button. Plus, Shawn and Maya will be broadcasting live from the Carriage Greens Country Club for the event, where we'll have surprise celebrity guests throughout the show. So listen, make plans to attend the Hispanic Business Network annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. So to register your foursome or to just donate, go to hbn-chicago.com. Once again, hbn-chicago.com. So don't meet us there, beat us there.
We're back here, Shawn and Maya in the morning. We're joined by our good friend Kenneth Davis from the D and Davis Show. We're talking a little White Sox baseball right here. And I'll tell you what, and you were talking about you wanted to add something else about Louis Robert and his makeup, his mentals.
No, I'm really just the gist of it. And listen, maybe I'm early in the next season. I could be totally wrong, right? Like and that's another thing too. What happened when what after the league kind of adjusts to him? You know what I'm saying? And we don't know that in this shortened season. You know what I'm saying? Now, we would think with all his tools, maybe that'd be difficult, but then we have to see him readjust to that. You know what I'm saying? So I could be really early with this, but it's just dawning on me. And I guess the real thing is, it seems like we got a great here. And I mean, I'm tiptoeing around it because just one health, you know what I'm saying? And you want to make sure that you have that player and that player reaches his potential. But I mean, that's kind of the way that it's trending. But Shawn, I got to ask you a question about the Hispanic golf outing that's taking place on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
What time, like now, when you're doing the show, what time is you going to do the show, the regular hours?
Yeah, 9 to noon.
9 to noon. So the drinking starts at noon then?
11:30.
That's what I'm about to say. See, I was figuring like about when you're going to start greasing up, because, you know, this 30 minutes, you can't really tell that on air. But what type of beverage are we using with the heat out there? Like what's the ratio? Break that down for me real quick. Because you're a party dude. So I need to get out the house more. So I'm living through you.
So it's gonna have to be something ice cold. So and I have to ask Carmen who the sponsors are, because they always have a liquor sponsor. So I don't know if they're gonna have a beer sponsor. So if it's a liquor sponsor, okay, then whatever we have is gonna be on the rocks. So you're gonna have the glass sweating on the outside, and you're gonna have something nice and cold. If it's a beer sponsor, then we'll need the ice cold bottles or cans. Okay, well, obviously cover them up. I mean, actually, we don't have to, because the bosses said we can. Our bosses are cool, and so something ice cold is what you want. Now, the most important thing is keeping it cold. So what I have, I had a reunion for Holy Cross, where I went to school out in Massachusetts a couple years ago. It was our 9th reunion, and so they gave us a Yeti. Mind you, Holy Cross.
Oh, really? Really?
They gave me the Yeti coaster.
Was this for the football team, or this is for the football?
No, this is for all people who graduated the year I graduated.
Whoa. How many people are this that we're talking about?
It wasn't very many, because there's only 3,000 3,000 in school, so about 500, 600.
Whoa. How big of a Yeti are we talking about?
No, it's just the cup, like a 20 ounce.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about they was passing out Yetis. I'm like, wait. I looked up Yetis. I'm like, let's go. How much that cost? Whoa, I don't need that. Like, yeah.
That's a cool. It's gonna be $300.
Yeah.
What does it do? This fish better stay fresh for a year.
Right? Yeah.
$300.
Good.
So they gave us a Yeti, and it said, Holy Cross, class of 93, and and it's got it on there. And truth be told, this was 2 years ago. I've never used it.
Oh.
So I'm gonna get a little straw, and make sure. So when that do it, and you know about Yetis, obviously. I'm sure you do too.
Quality,
Man, when they first told me when I was doing security for the at the Under Armour store in Michigan and Ohio, a lady had come in with one, and we were just talking. I was at the front door just, and she's like, and I was like, oh, what are you drinking? She's like, oh, a little sauce and an adult beverage. I'm like, oh, we gotta drink it fast. It's warm out. She goes, no, it's a Yeti. I'm like, what's a Yeti? She's like, oh, you've never heard of Yeti? I was like, no. And she explained it to me. She's like, listen, she goes, we're from Texas. She goes, we're over here. She goes, she said, my son had a baseball game, and she goes, I left the Yeti. She goes, I had a drink with ice in it. She goes, I left it in the car. She goes, with the windows up, and she said, I came back after the baseball game. She goes, and the drink still had ice in it. I said, what? In Texas? She goes, yeah. She goes, this thing is. She goes, it's extreme. She goes, it's expensive. She goes, but this is the top of the line. She goes, you'll never. She goes, you won't find anything good. There's other good things out there. She goes, but the Yeti is the top of the line. And so I've tried it with other people's Yetis, but my own. So that's what I'll be sipping on.
So are we saying some light? Is this gonna be like some tequila? Like if you got to go to spirit, what's the spirit gonna be?
Well, again, it's gonna be depends on who they're sponsoring. It's gonna be vodka sponsors. If we get a tequila sponsor, I hope it's a tequila sponsor, so we can have a little tequila, and tequila and squirt, tequila and Sprite, tequila and 7-Up. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And it's gonna stay cold in that Yeti. That's the way to break out your Yeti.
Are you gonna play? So after the show, are you gonna go out there and play it?
So Carmen asked me. She's like, do you want to? She goes, I can put you in a foursome, and I was like, that's not my kind of foursome. But that's another story. I'll be here all week. Thanks, fellas. I'm sure to tip your waiters. But I was like, you know what? I said, I haven't been out this year. I said, I haven't been to the range. I said, I haven't golfed in a few years. I'm like, I said, I would need to. I didn't think I was going to be able to. I don't know why I didn't think that. I'm like, because I should have been going to the range, at least the range. Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe not got out on the course, but at least to the range. So I hadn't been, and I was like, no, Carmen. I was like, I'm not going to make that big of an ass of myself. I'm like, it's going to be bad enough just, not having played in a couple of years. I said, at least, and with no warm up, I was like, no. So I will be at the 19th hole, rooting everybody on with my Yeti in hand. And you know what? And it's for a great cause. It's it goes to scholarship for first generation college students. Which I think is great. I think it's a phenomenal thing what they do, and it's always a great time. It's always a great time hanging out with Carmen and Roger.
How do you donate? You go
to the website hbn-chicago.com, and you can donate right there. You can either register your foursome if anyone out there wants to get in, or if you just want to donate, you can donate there. Just click the donate button, and then you can do it that way as well. So HBN for Hispanic Business Network, hbn-chicago.com.
That's dope, bro.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Everybody gonna be out there grinning.
Mm-hmm. Grinning, yep. Because it's supposed to be 87. It's supposed to be 87 on Friday too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a nice warm day. Definitely some adult beverages will be consumed. A lot of beverages are going to be consumed that day, boys. Let me tell you.
Hey, listen, will Maya get out there on the links?
I don't think Maya's going to get out there. Maya, she's a snow bunny. She's the clubhouse girl. She's like, no, I'll just sit at the bar and have all the men buy me drinks. Oh, Maya's crazy, but yeah. So it's going to be fun, man. I'm excited about it. And, one of the things that, you mentioned the Cubs too. I got to give David Ross a lot of props. Mm-hmm. I didn't give him as much props initially. I thought he was going to struggle a little bit, but I should have gone back to like my coaching and the way he is as a manager, coach, manager, same thing, just different term. He's a no nonsense guy. It's always fun. It's good to have fun, but you got to take care of the fundamentals first. Okay. And what we talked about the other day, I think he's really got them back to the fundamentals. Okay. Javi is uber talented. Okay. Bryant, uber talented. Rizzo, super talented. Schwarber. You have so many talented guys on there. When you build this foundation, Wilson Contreras, who was an MVP candidate before he hurt his hamstring a few years ago. When you build a foundation, whether it's a building or an athlete or a marriage or relationship, on something that's strong and fundamentally sound, there's great things that can come from it. And these guys have all been, their fundamentals have been good because they wouldn't have got to where they did. But then the reinforcement of it, like you got here to this point with your ultra talent, stay focused on the fundamentals, because when you do, your talent will take over. Okay. And if you just focus on your talent and not the fundamentals, then your strike zone's a little wider. You're trying to pull stuff that doesn't need to be pulled. You're trying to go opposite. You know what I mean? There's certain things that you deviate from. And, we talked about it earlier. If you trust the process, if you fall in love with the process, okay, and the process is the fundamentals. And that's batting practice every day. That's fielding every day before the game. All these things to get you warmed up and just to fine tune you every game, okay, is important. I think he brought that sense of accountability back to them, and my hat's off to him for the job he's doing. They're 7-2, top the NL Central, and that pitching staff. I don't know if he put a foot in their ass or if the new pitching coach put a foot in their ass, whatever. But that starting rotation is a lot better than I thought it would be. Although Kyle Hendricks struggled the second time around, still, no one's going to go 25-0. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to have a bad game.
You're going to get that with him anyway.
I really love and I really respect the job that he's doing right now. And in this short season, like it's not unfathomable to see these guys both teams go deep in the playoffs.
No, dude. Listen, I took a shot at Theo when I mentioned his last years with the Red Sox, as far as when he became a big spender to cover up some of the holes. Let's give big kudos to them for always eyeing David Ross as being the guy to replace Joe. I hate to say it because you could have done this maybe a year earlier if you really thought. I know last year they kind of pulled Joe back and was like, listen, stop spending as much time with the media, get out there and do more instruction. But I totally – what are you about to say, Ivan?
I was going to say that, you know what, the thing – and I'm sorry to cut you off because it was just – the thing he did, it started becoming the Joe show, the Benny's commercials, the restaurant outside. Joe was everywhere. It was more Joe's face, Joe was the face of the Cubs and not the Cubs. You know what I mean? Not the players. Joe was everywhere, and the clubhouse became lax. The trainings it was more like
Dick-esque.
Thank you. It was BS. Yeah. It was BS. They're playing grab ass over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're playing grab ass, and Joe was just taking in all this attention. They even at the beginning of last year, the whole football approach, the whole football mentality. Oh, it's got to be now. It's now or never. You got to go 100%, 110% to start. If you have to tell your manager and you have to tell your team to do that for your manager needs to go. He had to have been gone, because if they weren't doing that already, what do you have? Like what have they been doing? It was a clown show for 2 years.
Yeah, but I'll say this too. In a way, if you even think about it, why they got rid of Ricky is because Joe had that opt-out clause in his contract with the Rays. And his agent was like, "You can go now." And that Cubs job, they will fire their manager. Because in a way, and what I'm trying to get to is that team really wasn't. In a way, it was a Joe team because you look at everything he did with the Devil Rays. You can go back to him when he was coaching out there with Mike Scioscia in Anaheim. But like what he likes to do in a way is kind of for a veteran team because there's a lot of levity involved in it. And with a team, and it's still his baseball acumen. We can get to what happened at the World Series, the last game, but with his baseball acumen and how intelligent he was, he got them there. But he's kind of not that guy for such a young team who's on the banquet circuit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not the and then on there, the bad cop had left and David Ross. Mm-hmm. So when you kind of look like I don't want to just put it all on Joe, because then we're asking Joe not to be Joe, basically, and then do the players start to look through that and be like, man, that's not you. You're not that type of dude like that or whatever. So again, I listen, I've been thinking the same thing, Shawn, as far as David Ross. Dude, you look at that record, we be like, man, it's a short sample size. Yeah, but you doing it on the other side of short sample size where you're killing it. And two games in the baseball, losses in the baseball season, I definitely want to say they undefeated. Because you never know. Like with Kyle Hendricks, of course, he's a tinkerer anyway. All right, he's going to go through a spell. He's not a guy that's an overpowering guy. And when you deal with a guy that deals with corners a lot, he's going to have days where his feel is not there. He's just not going to be – he's going to come out there and he's not going to be able to find it. So you're going to get that. It'd be different if he was a guy that had heat and be like, you know what? I can't play the corners today. I'm about to just burn your ass and use a changeup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying it'd be different, but that's what you're going to get. So even that loss in the way to me, I'm not like, that's really a loss. I mean, if it's because you're a pitcher now, it depends on if the guy comes out and has 2 or 3 bad outings, especially in this small sample size, then you have a problem. But you're going to have a guy that has a bad outing. But David Ross is killing it. I mean, they gave him a suspect bullpen. Now they're trying to do it with these inexpensive arms, and now he's figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? It's man, dude. I mean, it's a reason.
And I love Joe. Like Joe was the perfect. There was a perfect storm. It was a perfect marriage because you had young guys and you had a lot more vets on the team in 16, and you had David Ross who was controlling the clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? He was controlling the younger guys. He was with them doing the little, making sure they do the little thing for them in order for them to win. And Joe was there, to take on the heat from the media. You know what I'm saying? Joe was there to be the face for that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see after the World Series, it was just like Joe. Joe was like, all right, well, I'm gonna continue to be Joe. Sometimes it seemed like he was trying to reinvent the wheel with all the moves he was doing and some of the shit he was pulling during the games, but it wasn't that time anymore. And you could see it in the Cubs play because it was more lackadaisical. The guys weren't focused on at bats. Guys weren't taking good at bats. At bats were done like this, quick. They weren't dragging out at bats. They weren't getting deep.
They weren't battling.
Exactly. They weren't battling. They weren't getting deep into the bullpen, and they weren't focused on defense. That all stems from that stems from the manager and how he runs his camp and how he runs his clubhouse. Because if your guys aren't focused and your guys are digging around out there, you're gonna lose games and you're gonna look bad at it. And don't try to put some sprinkles on the shit and tell me everything's okay, because that's what Joe was trying to do for 2 years. Is tell us everything's gonna be fine. They're gonna hit a switch. When the hell do you know a baseball team to just hit a switch when they're in a slump?
Yeah, but as bad as Joe was, let's not get it twisted. You're a professional baseball player as well, okay? Mm-hmm. And right. They need to take accountability for themselves, because you know damn well that the fundamentals are what drives you. And for people to come in and say, I don't feel like taking batting practice today, or I don't feel like taking fielding practice today beforehand, that falls on the player. You understand the process that's involved. Yes, Joe should have been there to manage it and say, hey, listen, no, this is what we need to do. But you as a player, you can't just randomly or arbitrarily take a day off. Yeah, I just don't feel like batting practice. Okay, you know how baseball is. You will know how it's been for your whole playing career, which has probably been 20 plus years, right, since you were 4 or 5 years old. So for you not to do that because of whatever, because you had a long night or you were out partying or because you're tired, guess what? That just doesn't fly, because that didn't fly for you to get to that particular point. But I think what happened is they all kind of started reading their own press clippings after they won it, and they were still able to get back to NLCS the following year. But I think that there was that started to fade a little more, and you start reading how good you are and start just not respecting the game is where they lost it, and that's
Shawn, they lost their leader. They lost the stopper that would stop that shit, that would cut that shit out. Hey, if you ain't working, I'm gonna hold you accountable. So you get your ass in the cage and start working. So you could go and take them ground balls. So you go and shag fly balls. There needed to be somebody that was holding the players accountable, and that guy wasn't Joe Madden, because he thought they could hold themselves accountable.
They could when David Ross was there.
Was it 4 NLSs or was it 3?
3 in a row.
Guys, that's not natural, to be honest. I mean, I know I don't want to just go full on, just bash this man. Like, I'm just telling you from my side of town. All right, dude. I mean, in our lifetime, unless you're the Atlanta Braves, right? Like, where it was a given for 14 years that the division was theirs basically. But like, dog, 3 in baseball. Like, first of all, I'm going to tell you this: if you win a World Series, the next year, I'm naturally going to think your pitching staff is going to be dead. Basically, that's how I basically come into the season like. You may as well not even have the regular rotation. Have those guys start in the summertime, because if they carried you all the way to a World Series, those arms are going to be taxed. All right.
They showed that in the.
But to get to 3, I mean, I'll take it. All right, like I'll take it. Like, I mean, I just don't want to just rain down on them. I mean, you have to appreciate. You really still have to. And I know they should have gotten to 2 World Series. That's one thing. They should have been in 2. I mean, it would have been better if they won 2 because during the window. But you still got this window, and guys, dude, the Cardinals are basically done. I mean, so what? We're gonna go off of winning percentage now. This is what the thing is floating around. But they're 2-3. So I mean, they still gotta get some more wins. The Milwaukee, well, like, dude, they're sitting at the cream of the crop because they blew out the first week, basically. And I mean, I don't think any of us are seeing them gearing down right now. Like, it's. I hate to say it because I don't want to put any bad juju on the Cubs. It's a wrap already. I'm just saying, like, it's a. What are the Cardinals going to do? We're not worried about the Pirates. All right, like, dude, and I mean, and it's not a wrap. And I'm not saying it in a way that, like, man, they lucky. They were already trying to lap these teams before, and unfortunately, to COVID with the Cardinals, and we got to see what necessarily happens. But man, it's nice on the north side right now. And listen, it should be like this is why you know what, this is why. And you always can get rid of the coach and manager because it's easy to do that because you're going to flip your whole roster. And I mean, then what you're going to do with all this talent and you still have a window before Chris Bryant leaves or whatever, you trade him. You have to see what somebody else could do with this team because of what Shawn said at the beginning of the segment as far as the amount of talent that they have on this roster, right? Anybody would want to be on this roster. I mean, anybody would want to have these players on this team. So you had to see what another guy could do before you have to start really tinkering with this team, and at least before Lester is fully done. So listen, props to them, man. It's a great job. Even with their failure, they've still kept that amount of talent on their team. If this was another team, and as I said to 3 NLSs, dude, they would have traded one of these guys. One of this dude would have been bounced out. Like, it goes to show you the type of makeup of the players they have, that they're still this good at this point. And I know they started young, but there's still something to be said about those players.
And I'm just going to end it on this. Just like you said, that core. For me, that core, and it ties into what Shawn said too, you're a professional. Somebody, like, either somebody needed to step up in the clubhouse and be a leader, or the guys needed to hold themselves accountable internally. And then at that point, you had already been doing your job. But nobody was there to do either. So for me, with David Ross is bringing that core. He put the boot to the core's butt. You know what I mean? He put it to the Baez, to the Rizzo. So he said, hey, man, this, like, you guys weren't doing whatever you were doing before. You weren't doing for the past 2 years. This is the way. This is how we're going to do it. And this is baseball. I already like seeing the natural baseball moves and the lineups being consistent, the positions being consistent. You don't have a Rizzo pitching. You know what I mean? You don't have a Schwarber at short or something. You know what I mean? Some crazy stuff that Joe would do. I like that, and I think it's just David just brought a refocus and a new energy to the Cubs.
Guys, he's Kenneth Davis. We got to take a break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to bring in our guy, Josh Fryman. Kenneth, let everyone know where they can find you online, Papa.
Find me at That's Davis. Also, tell my man Josh I said what's up.
I will. I will. All right, folks, on the other side of the break, Josh Fryman, right here, Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The stretch and the pitch. Baez hits a base hit up the middle, cut the game. A sharp single, a line drive right back through the box. The Cubs win it by a score of 2-1 in 11 innings. David Bodie comes in to score.
Cubs radio with the call. Javier Baez with the game-winning single in 11 innings. 2-1 the final. Pittsburgh led it 1-0 through 5.5, but the Cubs evened it up in the bottom of the 5th. Kyle Schwarber with a run-scoring double.
And the 2-2 is on the ground into center field, a base hit. Robert will turn third. He's on his way toward the plate. He is going to score.
White Sox radio with the call, part of a 9-2 assault on the road at Kansas City. Sox prospect Nick Madrigal with the first 4 hits of his big league career. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at BoomerNaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Indeed knows you've got big goals for your business, and we understand hiring is a crucial part of that. You need to hire people who will make a real impact. Indeed can help you find those important hires faster while paying only for what you need without any long-term contracts, thanks to our super flexible payment options. Start Start finding your important hire today with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high impact. That's Indeed.com/high impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey guys, it's your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I want to talk to you about my good friends over at the Hispanic Business Network, Carmen and Rogelio. They're having their annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. The proceeds benefit Hispanic Business Network Scholarship Fund for first-generation college students. Now, you've already been on the course many a time this year, so your clubs are ready to golf for a good cause. And by the look of it, it sounds like you're going to call in sick on Friday, August 7th. So listen, to register your foursome, go to the website, hbn-chicago.com. Or if you'd just like to donate, go to the website, again, hbn-chicago.com, and click on the donate button. Plus, Shawn and Maya will be broadcasting live from the Carriage Greens Country Club for the event, where we'll have surprise celebrity guests throughout the show. So listen, make plans to attend the Hispanic Business Network annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. So to register your foursome or to just donate, go to hbn-chicago.com. Once again, hbn-chicago.com. So don't meet us there, beat us there.
Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Just got off the air with our boy Kenneth Davis from the D and Davis Show, and now we're going to switch gears. We're going to have a little more Cubs talk. So all you Cub fans who always complain we don't have enough Cub guys on here, we got you. We got a great one. He's a good friend of the program. He's he's from WGN Sports. You can find him on Twitter at Josh_Fryman. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya. It's been a minute. Let's welcome back Josh Fryman. Josh, what's up, buddy? How are you?
The Superback. What's going on, Shawn? It's the first time in the video platform here, waiting in the little queue. I feel like I'm a guest backstage on Kimmel or something. This is fun.
Yeah, we had to upgrade, man. We upgraded, so it is pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. I like the beard you got going. Look at you.
Yeah,
looking
trying
good.
it out. It's kind of like the quarantine beard. I've been rocking it for I guess like 2 months now. On air as well. I got some nice compliments, so we'll see. We'll let it grow out a little bit.
You too, huh? Dude, let me just tell you this. I hate this. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
You hate your goatee?
Yes, and because it's all salt down here. There's a little pepper up here, but all salt down here.
I gotcha.
And I've had one, and a lot of my female friends are like, "Oh my God, it looks great. You look distinguished." I'm like, that means old. They're like, "No, distinguished." I have not gotten one bad review, one bad comment from my female friends. Like, it looks good. So I'm like, fine, I'll keep it. I'll keep it under protest, but I'll keep it.
Well, I'll add to the chorus. It looks good. So, yes. Distinguished is a good way to put it. But, no, you look good, man.
So, let's get into it, man. Your Cubs, dude, are you surprised at their 7-2 start?
A little bit about the way they've gotten to 7-2, right? The starting pitching. So, in that sense, you remember last year they started the exact opposite, 2-7. And the bullpen ERA over those 9 games compared to these 9 games are almost exactly the same. So what's been the difference? Well, not only the starting pitching, as I mentioned, but the hitting has obviously come around sooner than we thought. Chris Bryant obviously has been the one guy who's been still dealing with some, lingering effects. I know he was sick over the weekend here, but his bat is not heated up yet. But Kyle Schwarber, Javier Baez, Will Contreras, you got Ian Happ, you got Anthony Rizzo as well, who obviously his concerns with his back during the summer camp weren't sure how he would look out of the gate. All those guys are matching right now. You're getting contributions from David Bodie, Nico Horner, Jason Kipnis when he's in the lineup. So you add all that in, this team is scoring 6-7 runs a game. I know yesterday they scratched across that second run in the 11th inning just to get the win over the Pirates, but you sweep teams like Pittsburgh because you are a better team than Pittsburgh. You have to take care of business against those weak teams in your division and the cross division. That's what it's all about this year. And so you need to beat up on Pittsburgh. Last year, they fell apart at the end of the year because they couldn't beat Pittsburgh down the stretch, right? And so you play the Royals this week, another bad team. You just saw your White Sox beat up on them. You got to do the same thing. You got to take advantage of those poor teams that you face in this two-division format, the AL and the NL Central. And then if you can, somewhere split with the Twins, Indians, Reds, and Cardinals, those top teams you expect, you'll probably be pretty good and up there. And especially with this expanded playoff format, you'll probably be in that tournament.
How good is the starting rotation? How good has it been? There was, you knew you had the professor, you knew you had Darvish. They're starting to have some questions about John Lester. And then Quintana heard, slices his hand off the day before. You're like, what the heck? But how good has the starting rotation, how good has it been to start the season? And can it continue?
Well, those are two important distinguishing factors, right? They have been great. Will they continue to be as good as they are? I still have my doubts. To me, Shawn, that starting rotation, that was, I wouldn't say the Achilles heel of this team, but I felt like along with the bullpen, that was their weak point going in. You knew you had Darvish and Hendricks, but after that, John Lester was aging really quick. You saw the effects last year and the last couple of years, really not the same John Lester that the Cubs spent in 2014 for the first few years of that contract. Obviously, well worth the deal they gave him, but you knew the backside was not going to return the dividends like it would in the early parts. And then you had Tyler Chatwood as your number 3 starter going in. I know that alarmed a lot of Cubs fans, especially when Jose Quintana, like you said, got injured with the sliced finger. But Chatwood has always had the stuff. And his number one issue, we know, it's been command. Can he be able to place his pitches and not only place the fastball enough to get the hitters to swing and miss at the stuff out of the zone, but he has been the Tyler Chatwood that the Cubs spent $36 million in the offseason a couple years ago to go and get from Colorado. He has been the Tyler Chatwood that they thought would be their 3rd or 4th starter a couple years ago. We know he's been back and forth between the bullpen, the command issues, but starting about midseason last year, he really started to pick it up. Something clicked for him. Pitch lab, he is, like I said, always had the stuff. It's the mechanics and being able to locate. He's obviously figured it out. What was it, 11 strikeouts yesterday? To me, that would be the biggest factor in this starting rotation being real. If Tyler Chatwood, if his early season performance is real, then all of a sudden you can go 3-4 deep in the starting rotation. Alec Mills is serviceable, but you can decide if you want him or Quintana to be that 5th starter when Q comes back. One of those guys will go to the bullpen, be your long man. Suddenly your bullpen gets better because of that too. And look, John Lester, for all my doubts, he's done it through 2 starts so far. It hasn't been the sexiest. He's reaching, 89, 90 miles per hour, but he's not the Kyle Hendricks pitcher where you expect him to dominate at that fashion because his changeup can be 82, 83 and cause these hitters to completely look foolish because of the difference in the speed there with his pitch selection. John Lester is so savvy at his age that he can do it, but will it last going forward? I think a short season, maybe that allows him to be his best over that 60-game sample. Obviously, right now you can't be too unhappy with the results, though, so we'll take it.
Guys, we're joined by Josh Friedman from WGN Sports, talking a little Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. How big a role has David Ross been? We just got off. I just had on Kenneth Davis. He said to say what's up. He said to say hi. So
what's
me,
up,
him,
David?
and Ivan, who's also a Cub fan, we just got off this discussion. But give me your thoughts on how big of a role has David Ross played on this team, because this team doesn't seem to beat itself anymore. When they won the World Series, they had the entire starting infield, started the All-Star game. They were one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in baseball in 2016. What has this guy brought back to the Cubs, and how big is this guy as a manager?
Yeah, I mean, the early results obviously have been really good for David Ross. And even going back to spring training, you could tell from hearing from all the players. And, we had Dan Rowan was there for the first 2 weeks for WGN. He was giving us reports, back here in the studio at the time. And look, David Ross is the guy you expect David Ross to be. He's going to hold people accountable. He is, yes, friendly with the guys. He is half friend, teammate / half boss, and that's a tough line to kind of tiptoe around. But he has always maintained that when he needs to be stern and when he needs to go out and take the ball from John Lester, even though they're best friends, he will do it, and he will not beat around the bush. And sometimes it actually helps to be that close to the guys because you can be more honest and they'll respect you for it because at the end of the day, it's not going to ruin a friendship. You know, this is just baseball. You know that he is doing what's best for the team and what's best for you as a player. And I think that prior relationship is so important. And this is all so new to so many players and teams. Obviously, we're in this unprecedented season with a 60-game sprint, and getting off to a hot start was so imperative. And David Ross, I really feel like he has that calming nature on guys where I think, and especially with the lack of COVID cases, the Cubs, one of the few teams with no positive tests during summer camp for their players. And I think, with Tommy Hotovy sharing his story of getting COVID and getting really sick, I think that was also serving as a wake-up call for these players. But David Ross as well, just being that guy who could say, look, if we're going to succeed, we need to take this 100% seriously. And they have so far. And that's obviously judged by the results of the testing. And you see teams like the Marlins and the Cardinals, and at least the report with the Marlins players going and drinking at the hotel bar, and who knows what else they were doing that was not following protocol. Look, guys, maybe it's easy for me to say because I'm not being paid to go play baseball, but it feels like if you just need to go for 60 days without going to a hotel bar or staying, getting room service instead and go and getting a quick bite to eat down the street, you can do it. You can have that discipline if it means the difference between having a season, getting your money, and not having the season. And the Cubs, I think, really hammered that home right away. And I think that starts at the top with David Ross, and obviously above him with Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer and the Ricketts too, to extent. But I think David Ross is the perfect guy to lead this team during this short season because he has the prior relationships and because he's a guy who can lay down the hammer, be disciplined, but also still be a guy that everyone respects.
Can Wilson Contreras keep up this hot start? Because this dude is.
We've seen it before. Why not? I mean,
he's an all-star.
He's an all-star catcher. He's kind of been streaky through his career at the plate. The one thing you worry about with Wilson, unfortunately, is he going to go too hard where he's going to get hurt? Because we've seen that a few times now in his career. Right when he's rolling too, right? He'll be on a hot streak with the bat, and maybe he'll try to leg out an infield single. We saw it a couple years ago, pull that hammy. So if he can maintain himself, and I think that's where the DH is so huge, Shawn, in the National League. And a couple points on that. You can put Contreras out on the field 3-4 times a week at catcher, and then you can DH him the other 2 to 3 times a week. So you keep his bat in the lineup for pretty much the entire week, and maybe you give him a day off here and there, but you can get that bat without burning his legs at the catcher position. You trust Victor Caratini, who is a proven hitter. You have him to replace Contreras in the field, and it's really not that big of a drop-off. Victor is a very good catcher as well. And so you have much more options to mix and match. And everybody thought, look, Kyle Schwarber's your DH. People were penciling him into DH before the season even started because he is, quote-unquote, the prototype. His build and his probably mediocre, will give at best, defense. I think he's actually improved a lot over the last couple of years in left field. And look what's happened. He has DH'd 1 game in the first 9, and he has started the other 8 in left field. He is an everyday player with in left field, and that means he's batting, he's hitting, he's in the lineup against left-handed pitchers, which is a huge sign of trust from David Ross and a huge sign of growth and development for Kyle Schwarber. I was just looking up his numbers this morning to make sure that he was hitting pretty well against lefties. Actually, it's almost identical. He's got a better OPS against lefties, a little smaller sample size, I think 12 at-bats compared to 20, but he's showing that he deserves to be in the lineup every single day. So if you have Schwarber in the lineup and you can put him in left field, that means the DH spot is open for Contreras or Caratini. You get both those guys in the lineup. You can mix and match here, and all of a sudden, you're so much deeper of a squad. And again, kudos to David Ross, going back to that conversation we just had about the manager here. He has early on shown that he can move the chess pieces and not afraid to stick a mediocre left fielder out in the outfield every day and let him grow. And look, it paid off yesterday. His arm is why he is still in the outfield. He has one of the best arms in baseball. Former catcher, obviously, we know that. I don't know how many left fielders make that throw at the plate in the 10th inning to get the runner like he did yesterday, going to his left, having to move his body, square up, throw home on a dime, and get it in time to Contreras with time to spare, actually, to prepare for the hit and the impact from Stallings.
Yeah, that was actually a nice throw, and I was very surprised with that. I knew he had a strong arm, but his accuracy was on point, and it got, like you said, it got to him where the collision was a good 5 to 7 feet away from home plate up the line. That's how he got that ball to him. so quick and precise. So you're making my producer Ivan happy, because we had this conversation last week about Contreras and rotating him and as a DH, as a first baseman, as a catcher. He doesn't have to catch the whole the whole time. So you put a big smile on Ivan's face. What element, or how much do the fans on the rooftop, how much support do they provide? Because first of all, that you have fans on rooftops. Nobody else has fans anywhere in Major League Baseball. Fans are yelling, they're screaming names, and can that provide any extra motivation or because sometimes you feed off the fans in a full house. It's easy to feed off the crowd off of 40,000 people. But do these fans, knowing that you actually have fans there screaming your name, and it's not as loud, but could that affect or help some of these players?
It could, but I think that's actually less of an effect than the crowd noise that they are piping into the speaker system. I actually think they've done a really good job at Wrigley, and we've seen it in a couple other different ballparks too, the way they're using the crowd noise to replicate a big moment. So if you're the home team and you're pitching and you're up by 1 run and it's the 8th inning and there's 2 strikes on a batter, what happens? We've all been to a game. The crowd stands up, people get on their feet, they make noise, and the pitcher feeds on that adrenaline. And that's the moment that these guys are used to playing in big games for. That is wiped off when you have nobody in the stands, right? Even if there's a few, fans in these rooftops here, you're not going to feel that same energy. But what the Cubs are done, you can hear it on the broadcast too, is they're getting the energy that it's a simulation, so it's not exactly the same, but they're creating that ambient crowd noise to at least serve as a replication for the players there. And the players have said they liked it. And I think that is as close as you're going to get in this season with no fans in the actual stands to producing that same kind of stimulation for the players when it comes to the crowd noise and feeding off that adrenaline. So it's worked so far. I think that's also giving these home teams a little bit of the home field advantage, unless you're Toronto, because you play in Buffalo, which is still weird to me, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, as far as your main point, Shawn, I don't think that the folks that are spending $400 to go up in the rooftops to wear binoculars or watch the game on the TV up there anyway are really impacting the game. It maybe adds a little bit if the players can hear, a couple, boo birds to, I think Ryan Braun was getting some for the first series when the Brewers were in town and stuff like that. So overall, probably not a huge effect, but more the crowd noise that's piped into me.
Guys, we're with Josh Friedman from WGN Sports, talking a little Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. We got him for another couple of minutes. So what about this Chris Bryant situation? He's in the COVID protocol. Well, how will the Cubs will they be able to overcome his absence? We don't know how long. Is it going to be, 14 days? He's got to quarantine, 10 days. How are they going to compensate for him being out of the lineup?
Well, it's not that long. So the way the MLB COVID system works is and first of all, it's Chris Bryant tested negative. He can be in the COVID protocol. He can be on the COVID IL list and not test positive. So if you're ill, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to report symptoms. The way the baseball protocol is set up is every day you fill out an intake form. Are you feeling okay? Do you have a temperature? And the players, honestly, it's up to them to be honest. And I think Chris Bryant woke up, he felt ill, whether that was a stomach bug, whether he, it doesn't have to be necessarily COVID-19, but because everything is so much more amplified when it comes to players caring about their own bodies right now and their symptoms, that he self-reported the symptoms. They held him out. They got tested. He tested negative. Okay, they'll do another test, I'm sure, to make sure that it wasn't a false negative or that he didn't test positive later in the week. Because remember, you can test negative 24 hours later, but it can still be in your system.
Yeah, you'd be asymptomatic.
Exactly. You could be asymptomatic, but even you could be asymptomatic throughout the entire course of having COVID, but you don't get a positive test until a couple of days later in your system. So it makes for I think a tougher testing system to make sure this is right. I think Juan Soto with the Nationals, that has been so frustrating for him. Now the Nationals didn't play this past week, but he had to get cleared by MLB. He had to get cleared by Washington, D.C. He had to get all these protocols, and they think he was a false positive potentially that he was on opening day tested for. So things can go wrong. Obviously, you want to be better safe than sorry. But when it comes back to Chris Bryant, as long as he doesn't test positive here on this next test, I think if he's feeling good, they'll get him back in the lineup here. But the important part of this, Shawn, and I think we saw this with the Cincinnati Reds when they played the Reds last weekend. The Marlins outbreak was just starting. The Reds had Matt Davidson test positive. He went on the COVID IL. Mike Moustakas and Nick Senzel did not feel well. They were held out of the lineup. Moustakas was actually placed on the COVID IL. A couple days later, Moustakas and Senzel never tested positive. Again, they felt bad, but they never tested positive. Moustakas appealed to take his name off the COVID IL. His appeal was approved. He was back in the lineup 3 or 4 days later. Again, they followed the protocol, but because he never tested positive, he didn't have to stay on a COVID IL for 10 days like the regular IL, and he was back in the lineup. Nick Senzel was out. He never was actually on the COVID IL. He could come back when he was feeling healthy. Matt Davidson's COVID IL stint started because of a false positive, they learned. So he was back as well later in the week. So again, you want to be safe, but with Chris Bryant here, I think he and a lot of the Cubs have said they respected what the Reds players did. They didn't feel good. They kept themselves out. They didn't want to potentially spread the virus to not only their teammates in the clubhouse, but to the Cubs who they were playing that weekend. And so Chris Bryant looked at that and said, that's the example we got to set for everyone else, right? We got to be our own doctors in a way, our own, people that are protecting our self-interest here. And so Joey Votto, same thing this weekend. He felt bad. He just went and reported the symptoms to the Reds, and they placed him on COVID IL too. So this, in essence, this all comes down to the players being responsible for themselves and making sure the season continues because they are taking care of their bodies, one, but also if they don't feel good, being honest about it.
Gosh, he's Josh Ryman from WGN Sports. Hey, thanks a lot, buddy. I really appreciate it. Let everyone know where they can find you online and on TV.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Online, Twitter at Josh_Friedman, Instagram Josh Friedman, Facebook I think the same as well there, and on TV on WGN and GN Sports. Check it out, 10:30 to 11 weeknights. I'll be on with our buddy Jared Payton tonight, breaking down the Game 2 of the Blackhawks Oilers. Got the Hawks hat on for that. Starts up a little bit late, 9:30, so I think we'll have first period highlights and break things down from their Saturday upsets and talk some baseball as well.
Dude, I like that set over there at GN Sports, man. Good, looks good. Looks good.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks.
We'll talk soon. Thanks for having me.
All right, now, guys, that was Josh Friedman from WGN Sports. So I know you're doing a happy dance over there, Ivan.
Yeah, because I knew I was right. I knew I was solid with it. But I mean, no, he's like just to save Wilson's bat. Like if you could save his legs by any cost, even if it's like a little bit here and there, even though he's still young, do it because the guy could hit. And I don't want to see him. I don't want to see his legs go and that power go with it.
Wilson is a very special catcher. As he starts to learn how to frame better, first of all, I'm starting to get sick of this framing garbage. Mm-hmm. I really, really am. There were quite a few calls against the White Sox over the weekend that were just clearly out of the strike zone.
Oh yeah.
And my thing is, if I have to move, if I'm the catcher, if I'm the ump, and I see the catcher has to move the ball, move his glove back into the strike zone, it's not strike.
It's not
strike.
I mean, it's like,
but you're talking about friends, so when you catch it like this because it's a tad outside, and you just catch it like that, and it ends up in there. If it's smack down the middle, you don't catch it like that. You catch it, you let it go. So it really bothers me. It's like flopping. It's like when you see this stuff, like this, Yoel Moncala's got called out once or twice off of a low pitch, and he doesn't argue, but I get upset. Like, dude, this thing is low. It's well low, a good 2 inches, 3 inches below the bottom of the strike zone, and because the catcher twisted his wrist and got it back in the zone, you rung him up. I'm like, that's very frustrating to me. Mm-hmm. It really is, especially when you want offense in Major League Baseball. You can't be ringing people up on low strikes or inside strikes or things around the plate. You're gonna have to let it be a hitter. let it, and I'm sorry, pitchers. I apologize, but you're going to have to let the hitters have it be a hitter's, strike zone. All right. You can't bring the ball back into the strike zone and have it called a strike. You just can't do that. It's really frustrating. I know Yohan was a little pissed too.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm a former catcher. Like that's what I did. But framing, it's like you got catchers that are just exaggerated. They exaggerate. It's supposed to be a subtle move. You're not supposed to try to bring everything back. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be a subtle move when you got a pitch that you see when it's coming, it's close. You got to buy that. You got to sell it for your pitcher. But if you as the umpires, if you're getting tricked consistently by terrible frame jobs, you know what I mean? Because if it's a slight move, like if it's a slight frame, you know what I mean? If the ball's off a inch, a half inch, or something like that, you're gonna go ahead and it's gonna be tough to see that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be tough to see that quick. As you're following the ball in, it's gonna be tough to pick that movement from the glove up. But if it's like three inches off and the guy's snatching it back, there's more. That's a problem. Like if you can't see 3 inches, that's a problem, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like if the glove's waving back and his arm's extended and his body has to come swinging back. Like let's be real. Like it's exaggerated and it's sloppy, but like because it's only supposed to be subtle. It's only supposed to be a subtle movement. You're not supposed to, like I said, you're not trying to snatch back like a mistake. You can't snatch back a mistake.
Yeah. And I've seen the moves that are nice. We just kind of swipe the ball and catch it, boom. So now you're outside and now you're in the zone. I appreciate the art of it, but still, you have to as an umpire, you've got to do better, because these are tricks. These are actual balls and they're being called strikes and they're ending innings and they're stopping rallies and they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I just think it needs to be done better.
What I think is, Shawn, is that I don't know if they're following the ball all the way through. I don't know if they're seeing it, if they're paying attention to a certain part in front of the plate. Like if it's there, it's pretty much a strike. You know what I mean? Like I don't know where their eyesight is, but I don't know. For me, I know I could see it. I've been there. I know I could see it. I've like, you know what I mean, helping out, like umpiring or doing whatever. I've seen it before, but to see it in the major leagues, it's like, how are you missing that, sir? You are a major league umpire.
How are you being tricked? I mean, I hope they're not being told to do that. You know what I mean?
You know what? Now that you say that, I was gonna ask you. Right before Josh had got off. I wanted to see if you could ask him the question. Do you think that major league umpires are, favoring pitchers because of the start? Because of how abrupt everything is, and boom, like you know what I mean? Like there's been a lot, like people have been consistent, but there's been a lot of people getting tagged as well. Like the balls are being hit hard, and that's because the pitchers warmed up. Are they ready to go? I don't know, but I think they might be. I mean, they might be trying to even it out at least to start with the pitching.
I think the balls are juiced. I think when they decided to come back, I think they really wound them even tighter. One to get more action, more home runs, more excitement, all that again, like they did back in '97. But I don't know. I don't know because it changed it screws it up because it changes the at bat completely. It wasn't Yohan. It was Adam Engel.
Mm-hmm.
It was Adam Engel, and he had a 2-0 count. And it was ball 3, and the catcher framed it, and it went to 2-1. So now that's a big difference: 2-0 or 3-0 versus 2-1. And when in this abbreviated season where every pitch is more magnified and has a lot more importance than a regular 162 game season, that threw off his whole at bat, and he ended up making it out. And I've seen that before, and that's one of the things. I really loved when Hawk was talking. You say a lot of crazy things, but the one thing was he educated people and he talked about, hey, after that first pitch, there's a huge difference between 1-0 and 0-1. Mm-hmm. Huge difference on the approach of the pitcher and the batter.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, and then every pitch in the sequence counts. And when you have a 3-0 slot, a 3-0 count, now you got 2 pitches to play with. Okay, so you figure as a batter, like, okay, this guy's going to do one or two things on the first pitch. He's going to try and on this next pitch, he's going to try and get an easy strike. So if I'm sitting there, it'll probably be a fastball. So let me sit fastball, okay? Or he's just going to kind of intentionally walk me with throwing something out and have me think that have me go chase it.
Right.
But now you don't have that 3-0 count. Now you got a 2-1 count. So now the pitcher has another pitch to play with to get to ball 3, and you're like, okay, well, I already have one strike. If I screw up now, it's 2-2, and now I get 2 strikes. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole different thing, and to me, that's bothersome. Okay, when you do that, when you screw up an at bat, and let's not forget, they're human.
Yeah.
Okay, we sit there and we talk about, well, he missed it. They were talking about such and such was up and he missed it, or he bobbled the ball in right field, or he overthrew the cutoff man, or he threw the ball away to first base. They're human.
Right.
Players are human. Umps are human. And remember, they didn't have a spring training. Spring training got cut, boom, in the middle. And so the COVID virus hit. They weren't out officiating games. You couldn't. There are no games. So these guys, you have to remember, it's only 1 week. So these guys have to get their legs back underneath them as well. Yes, you're able to do some inter-squad games, with the teams around the league at their various parks, but it's a whole different thing. And that definitely wasn't enough when you have a whole month of baseball in the month of March to kind of hone your craft. And you get, just like the players need to practice and get their skills ready, you need to get your focus and your skills ready as well as an umpire. And I think we're seeing a lot of horrible calls because they didn't have their spring training either.
Right. I think you're onto something here. You know what I mean? But for me, it's like, all right, as a former catcher, I'm just like, haha. He's doing his job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's doing his job. But for an umpire, like, there's been a lot of questionable, especially in these, like, that's why they're even, bringing up talk about automated strike zone. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to go against the human factor. You know what I mean? It's hard to say that a machine would be better or bringing in cameras or some type of system will be better than actual human eyes on it, because situations come up where it's like, what would you be able to detect this if you didn't have, like, if a human didn't see that? Like, if you saw a replay, for instance, or just balls and strikes, or a play at the plate. Like, I mean, the human eye could play tricks on you, but it could also be a good tool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, I feel you. It's a tough call. You get the robot. So if you get the strike out of the, where do the umpires make their calls? What are they needed for? They're gonna have to be. So they just sit there and you just call if the guy's out in second or if the guy's safe at home. I mean, it really. I'm not a big fan of that. I think human error is a part of the game. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because if it wasn't part of the game, no one would make a mistake. Okay. Right. Ask Bill Buckner. Okay, with Boston, it's a mistake. Okay, he went right through his legs. You know what I mean? It's part of the game, and you expect these umpires to be 100% correct and make every call correctly. Yeah. Because they're at the top of their profession. Mm-hmm. But you have athletes who are at the top of their profession who don't make every play. Right. And you know what I mean? And it sucks when it's not your when it's not your team that gets or when it's your team, I should say, that gets the bad call. But it is the way it is. Okay. It just there's got to be human error. There has to be. And that's the great thing about sports is that there is. Now, if you're good enough and if it was meant for you, if it was your destiny to win the championship that year, whatever sport it is, baseball, football, basketball, or hockey, then you'll overcome it. And if it wasn't, then you won't. Blackhawks, 2014. I know I'm going to take you down this rabbit hole again. It wasn't meant for them to be. Yes, we wanted it. Yes, they deserved it. Yes, they deserved it because they would have beat the Rangers. They would have walked away. They would have walked away. Either or. But it wasn't meant to be. Just like me, I still can't get over in 1980 when I was a senior in high school. All right, that we lost to Mount Carmel. Mm-hmm. All right, because the winner we had to go play East St. Louis, who was a perennial powerhouse,
but they were just down, and they came from from downstate, and so their road to the title game wasn't as difficult as ours was, or as my Cardinals were. And it's the human error as a coach not giving me the ball more than 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I was a Catholic League Player of the Year. My first carry was a 33-yard touchdown run. I had another carrier for like a 15 to 20-yard gain when we were on a 3rd and 3. You know what I mean? So I should have got the ball more than 7 times. It wasn't meant to be, as difficult as it is, and I still haven't gotten. I've never watched that game again.
I would never, dude. Nope. I've done that. I've done that. Like, people have asked me to play football again. I'm like, nope. I'm done. Like, nope, no, thank you. I don't want to play flag. I don't want. If I'm not in pads, ready to run you over, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't want to do it. It's not for me. But no, I was thinking about the robo ump. What if it was just like a part of replay? Like, you just replay the balls and strikes. Not every ball and strike, but within a time frame. Let's say the NFL with the 2-minute that comes from the booth. You get an extra replay from the booth. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have it like from the 8th inning to 8th or 9th, or maybe even 7th through 9. You go ahead and say, all right, you only get one. You only get one challenge. You know what I'm saying? You only get one or two, something like that, something minimum. So it's not ridiculous. So you're just everybody's stopping, every couple pitches to challenge a strike call. So you could challenge a strike call only in the last couple innings, and you only, you know what I mean? Like, you could only do it so many times, maybe once or twice. For me, I would give them only one, but maybe 2 would benefit it a little more. But it's baseball, man. Like you said, human error is a part of the game.
It is. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. We got to take our last break of the day. And the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the sweater you're wearing. The Blackhawks, Game 2 tonight against the Edmonton Oilers as they shock the world. Rocky Balboa has shocked the world. They shocked them in Game 1. We're going to talk about Game 1 with them, you and I, on the other side of the break. So Blackhawk Talk coming up next, right here, Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
BoomerNaturals.com presents the Sports Flash on 1330 and 95.9 The Zone.
The stretch and the pitch. Baez hits a base hit up the middle, cut the ball game. A sharp single, a line drive right back through the box. The Cubs win it by a score of 2-1 in 11 innings. David Bodie comes in to score.
Cubs radio with the call. Javier Baez with the game-winning single in 11 innings. 2-1 the final. Pittsburgh led it 1-0 through 5.5, but the Cubs evened it up in the bottom of the 5th. Kyle Schwarber with a run-scoring double.
And the 2-2 is on the ground into center field, a base hit. Robert will turn third. He's on his way toward the plate. He is going to score.
White Sox radio with the call, part of a 9-2 assault on the road at Kansas City. Sox prospect Nick Madrigal with the first 4 hits of his big league career. Boomer Naturals, your source for 3-layer protective face masks. Breathable protection for adults and kids. Save 20% with promo code SPORTS at boomernaturals.com. Chuck Sanders, that's the Sports Flash, 1330 95.9 The Zone.
Indeed knows you've got big goals for your business, and we understand hiring is a crucial part of that. You need to hire people who will make a real impact. Indeed can help you find those important hires faster while paying only for what you need without any long-term contracts, thanks to our super flexible payment options. Start finding your important hire today with a free $75 credit for your first job post and get in front of more quality candidates. Go to Indeed.com/high impact. That's Indeed.com/high impact. Terms and conditions apply.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Hey guys, it's your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I want to talk to you about my good friends over at the Hispanic Business Network, Carmen and Rogelio. They're having their annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. The proceeds benefit Hispanic Business Network Scholarship Fund for first-generation college students. Now, you've already been on the course many a time this year, so your clubs are ready to golf for a good cause. And by the look of it, it sounds like you're going to call in sick on Friday, August 7th. So listen, to register your foursome, go to the website, hbn-chicago.com. Or if you'd just like to donate, go to the website, again, hbn-chicago.com, and click on the donate button. Plus, Shawn and Maya will be broadcasting live from the Carriage Greens Country Club for the event, where we'll have surprise celebrity guests throughout the show. So listen, make plans to attend the Hispanic Business Network annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. So to register your foursome or to just donate, go to hbn-chicago.com. Once again, hbn-chicago.com. So don't meet us there, beat us there.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago, and I'm looking forward to this golf outing, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real. It'll be good. It'll be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. But speaking of champions, we weren't speaking of champions, but we are going to speak of champions. Well, our Blackhawks had a huge win on Saturday. Yes. Man, they opened up the floodgates early. 4 goals in the first period. Rookie Dominic Kubalik had he was 1 point shy of the rookie record for points in your first playoff game, and that was he had 5 points, 3 assists, two tallies, 2 goals.
Yep.
The captain, my captain, he led the way with 2 goals. You know, Corey Crawford had 25 shots he stopped. This was exactly what the Hawks needed. The biggest regret is that they didn't play on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They played, they went 2 days as opposed to every other day with game 2.
Yeah.
I think that gives Edmonton a chance to kind of settle down and regroup. I think if the game would have been on Sunday yesterday, which it had been every other day, I think the Hawks could have capitalized on that momentum. I'm really leery. This game is huge. It's extremely huge because if the Hawks win, they go up 2-0, and then they have 3 games to win 1. If they lose, now it's a best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is this is the game for the Hawks. This last game 1 was the game for the Hawks. You got it. Now this is the most important game for the Hawks because you're up 2. You would go up 2-0 in a best of 5, and then one series, 1 game out of 3 is a good. That's a good position to be in. I'm a little concerned. I shouldn't say concerned. I like Dominic Kubalik. Is he going to be able to continue? Is Corey Crawford going to be able to continue? I mean, the save percentage wasn't as high as I would have liked. But in the playoffs, shots aren't as plentiful, and what happens is you get a lot of good shots. There's a lot more quality shots in the playoffs. All right, and is Corey Crawford going to be able to maintain his high level, his standard, maintain his standard? If he can, then you know what, we're sitting pretty good. Kane didn't score, didn't light the lamp, I should say. So we have him. Sodfather was able to light the lamp. So we have guys. The offense is never the issue for the Blackhawks. Offense has never been the issue. Okay, it's the defense that was always in question. And then you pepper your goalie 35, 40 shots on a regular basis. It's not a good recipe for success. So they limit the number of shots. You can start. I just kind of wanted to add Kaner into that scoring mix, and I would feel a lot more comfortable. Which is not saying I don't feel comfortable now. Okay, because if my captain is scoring, and you got the Sodfather scoring, you got Kubalik scoring, you still got, we still got other guys that, in addition to Kane, the cat, Alex DeBrincat, he didn't score, he didn't light the lamp either. So now we have 2 other guys who we know are prolific goal scorers, get them going as well. Maybe those other guys were able to come and carry the load in game 1, but now it's time for Alex DeBrincat, it's time for Patrick Kane to carry their load and to do their job. And if they can win game 2, man, we are sitting pretty.
I told you, they just needed to show me something for me to start having these irrational thoughts about, they could do it, that this could happen, they can make a deep run. I'm just happy the first game that they came out, all cylinders. Everything was working. It scared me that first goal that Edmonton scored because Edmonton scored first.
Connor McDavid, yeah.
Honestly, I was like, shit. I was like, oh, again. I was like, here it goes. I was like, I'm about to change this channel. I was like, one more. I'm about to change this channel, dude. And it wasn't so. Like the Hawks came back and they kept coming back and they kept scoring and kept scoring and kept scoring. And I was just like, I was happy as hell. I was right here where you see me watching it, and I was just going nuts. I was like, oh my god, like it felt like the Hawks of old. They looked fast. They didn't make too many mistakes. I mean, there are a few goals that I wouldn't have. I wish we'd have had back late. But they looked good. They looked, like I said, they looked fast. They didn't make mistakes. They did everything that they needed to do to win that game.
It was a little concerning. Connor McDavid gets on the board. He lights the lamp at 2:34 the first period. You're like, oh man, here we go. And as black, because we've seen it. We've seen since the Stanley Cup title in 15, they've decreased. They went to 7 games in 16. They went to 7 games with St. Louis. Then in 17, they got swept by the St. Louis Blues. Then 18 and 19, they didn't make the playoffs.
Nope.
And so you've seen the gradual decline in their play. And when they got miraculously awarded a playoff spot, we're like, oh my God. All right, is it going to be a blowout with this, the top 2 scorers in the league, both on Edmonton?
Right.
Is it going to be a quick, 3 and out? The Hawks came to play. The Hawks have a great mix of veteran talent. We're talking Taves, we're talking Kane, we're talking Saad, we're talking Keith, we're talking Crawford, and they have a great mix of young guys in Strome, in DeBrincat, in Kirby Doc. These young guys.
Was looking pretty for a young guy. He was looking nice. I know it's only 1 game, but still.
But that shows you when you see that, what that tells you is the same thing that we were talking about with Lewis Robert. The moment didn't seem too big for him. Okay, the moment he was a very, very, very. He's a very mature, 18, 19-year-old. I don't even know if his birthday came or whatever, but he's a very mature kid. And the moment did not seem too big for him, and that's when you're gonna tell. That's when you separate the men from the boys when it's playoff time. And my hat's off to Kirby Doc. He played well, but what does that do? That gives him experience. That because he was hyped up before the game. It's a Swiss playoff game. You need a National Hockey League. You're going to be.
Just got dribbled.
When you start having success, all of a sudden your anxiety comes down, and now you start to play your game. Right. And now we can start to. I think we're going to start to see the best of Kirby Doc because he's comfortable. He's relaxed. He got over that first game jitters. That first game in his NHL, you're gonna have jitters. The first game in the playoffs, you're gonna have jitters. It's just natural. He got through it. He played well. Now he gained a whole bunch of confidence, and that's the guy we need. Because now that Drake Julia is going to be out for 1 game because he got suspended for checking a dude in the face, hit him with the shoulder in the face, right in the head. So he's out for a game, but so you're going to need some offense from a Kirby Doc. We're going to need some offense from the Brinkett. We're going to need offense from the Kaner and from the captain. So we're going to need another good game tonight, 6 o'clock. 9:30.
I know
local.
It's so late.
So do I.
Because I got a picture because I got the TV behind my computer. It's hooked up to the computer, so I got a picture of the Rangers versus the Hurricane. So I'm like, man, if this game was on right now. I want to be on right now so we can watch it and I could just mention what's going on here and there. But the Hawks just look great. They look great. I don't know if if it's sustainable, if they're going to be able to contain Draisaitl and McDavid throughout the whole series. But keep doing what you're doing. Be active. Be active. Don't make mistakes, especially in your own zone.
That's the key thing. You turn it over. Corey Crawford again. He stopped 25 or 29 shots. I'm more than okay with keeping a high-powered team like the Edmonton Oilers to under 30 shots.
Right.
Okay. It just means that the quality of shots are probably going to be better, or at least a a bigger group of those 30 shots or 29 shots are going to be quality chances, because in the playoffs, it's, things are amplified.
Mm-hmm.
All right, big time. I agree with you. Keep doing what you're doing. All right, the pressure's not on you anymore. All right, the pressure is on Edmonton, because Edmonton goes down 2-0. Everyone's like, "Oh man, what the hell happened?" And now they're scrambling for a win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gary McCallum's got to do a really good job. And here's we're gonna find out. First of all, he did a great job of keeping them focused. So did the leaders of this team, the core of this team, by not getting frustrated, being down 2 minutes 34 seconds into the game, and they exploded. So Jeremy Colleton is gonna and the leaders are gonna have to do that again. Stay calm, stay aggressive, stay pressing the issue. Okay, when you're aggressive, and especially in hockey, and when you keep the other team on their toes or on their heels, it's a much, much better game for you. And the Hawks need to stay aggressive this game like they did last. They didn't. Edmonton's a good team. They scored 3 more goals throughout the game, but it was too little, too late. And so the Hawks need to jump on them early, keep the pressure on, and everyone's got to play 200 feet. Everybody's got to play 200 feet. You got to get back, and you got to back check. You have to do all these things, all the little things. It's grinding time now in the NHL. It's grinding time, and you know what? I don't think the Hawks will be a serious Stanley Cup contender this year. But hey, stranger things have happened. Why not?
Dude, I mean, you're right. Stranger things have happened. But I want to point out to the legs of the Oilers, and this is what I say about what might happen, what could happen, what I'd hope in it that it could benefit the Hawks with their youth, is that the speed. The legs were like for the first 2.5 periods, about 2.5 periods, it looked like the Oilers' legs weren't there. It looks like they were slower. The Hawks look way faster. So I don't know if that's them being like, coming off this long wait and being sluggish, or if the Hawks are just, if the Hawks grew in these 4 months and we didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now this speed, now you got all this speed, you got this youth, you got the speed, you got goal scorers. We know they could score seven goals a game if they pushed it. They could do that a lot of the time. But what about the other teams in the league that don't have that youth anymore, that have sat 4 months? You know this as an athlete, sitting 4 months, not playing your sport, not knowing if you're going to play your sport, there's going to be some type of rust, especially for the older players who they may not be back to the form they were the year before. You know what I mean? 4 months gone from a sport not being active, that takes a toll on you. So I'm like, these are a lot of excuses and it's a lot of speculation. But what if the Hawks' youth and their speed, carries them because some of the guys have gotten older without, in a blink of an eye, because some teams weren't prepared or some teams, forbid, aren't healthy enough to put on their full roster or something like that. The Hawks could take real advantage. And with the goal scorers on the team, I mean, you could match up with anybody out there. It's now, if they're disciplined on the defensive end, that's yet to be seen. But I would hope so, because that would carry them far in these playoffs.
It really will. It really will. And this is where, again, here's where the superstars in these games where you're underdogs, the superstars have to step to the forefront. Kubalik's not a superstar, but he stepped to the forefront. My captain, he's a superstar. He stepped to the forefront. Brandon Saad, he's a superstar. He stepped to the forefront. Corey Crawford, superstar, stepped to the forefront. This is where you develop your legends. And with a team that's not anticipated to be a serious Stanley Cup contender, you can turn a lot of heads. You can open a lot of eyes. You could also start striking fear and putting doubt in some people's heads, in some people's minds, because they start looking at you saying, wait a minute, this team is old, and they're not that old. They're only 28 to 30 at this core. You have a couple older, but they have the good balance of young guys who are cutting their teeth now and who seem. What will happen with a lot of teams is the break can do one or two things for you. If you're an older player and you're in the middle of your season and it gets stopped, and then you have to, and what happens is your focus and everything dwindles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're amped up. You're in the middle of the season. You're going, and all of a sudden it cuts off. Okay, the training or the playing, you're not in the ice, and to get back, it could be very detrimental. And I know they have preseason games and everything, but it's still having that break. For the younger guys, you're still going to have your legs because you're young. You know, the old saying, youth is wasted on the young. And they just want to get back and play hockey. And so they're going to be a little more fired up and energetic and moving around. And that's what we saw in the Dominic Kubalik. All right. The Saad's not even that old. We saw him. Dylan Strome as well. He's not very, he's another guy. So we have guys we got the young legs from guys, and then we have the skilled passers. Right. You have my captain, Jonathan Tays. You have Patrick Kane, who's an unbelievable passer. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you have these young guys who have all the energy in the world, brimstone and fire and brimstone. And you have guys who are unbelievable passers to get them the puck in very dangerous situations. And I'm dangerous, I mean, against the goalie. It's a good combination because Patrick Kane doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to be on the even in the zone for him to be dangerous. You know what I mean? He could be in the back, all of a sudden make a long cross ice pass to some guy streaking and hit him in stride, and now it's a breakaway. Okay, Patrick Kane can go around the. We've seen it. I've seen it. He dekes on the goalie, goes around the net, but as he's going around, he drops the puck back off on the same side that he just came from, and the goalie goes to the other side, and boom, it hits the light. The lamp is lighted because someone came from the other side and just poked and smashed it into the back of the net. So that the ability that we have, I just want to see today. I want Patrick Kane to say, okay, thank you for carrying me the first game, but now I'm Patrick Mickey Ficky Kane. Watch.
And I hope it's not all Patrick Kane. Just my last thought on it. I hope it's not all Patrick Kane. I hope they continue to play the team. It was the whole team last game that came together and got that win. But if Patrick could catch on fire and the team could stay hot, now you got something. Now you got something brewing. Now we could really talk about, hey, who is this team that we haven't seen in 4 months? You know what I mean? I joked with you guys when the game was on. I was like, these guys must have been practicing off of Zoom or Skype or something.
Yeah, Zoom calls.
Where they were away. But I'm just happy with game one. I'm good with being up 1-0. Game two, let's do it again. One step at a time, because we keep saying this. We shouldn't expect this. We shouldn't expect anything. But good things happen when you least expect it. Maybe this team within these 4 months, for some reason, some way or another, grew.
It's very possible. It's very possible. We're going to find out again today, 9:30 tonight, NBC Sports Chicago. So if you want to stay up and check it out, you'll do so. You're going to get to bed late, but nonetheless, 9:30 today, 1:00. White Sox 105. They're on NBC Sports Chicago. They're traveling down to Kansas City. The Chicago Cubs 120. They're at home against the Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. They're in Kansas. They're at home against Kansas City, and the Sox are at Milwaukee. I looked at the wrong thing. So White Sox are at Milwaukee at 7:10. So great stuff today. Listen, guys, we got to run. I want to thank my guests, Joseph Phillips, for coming on in top of the morning segment. I want to thank Kenneth Davis for coming on at 10 o'clock hour. I want to thank Josh Friedman, a good friend of ours, for coming on and calling in 11. Gentlemen, you guys made it a great show. Then I would be remiss if I did not say thank you to my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, the Wiz, Ivan Vargas, my other producer, Elliot Baez, our technical producer, Elliot Baez, and then our social media guru himself, the post everything you see. Man, we have so many different articles, and that's all Clarence, just about all Clarence. I see you post some every once in a while. But big shout out to Clarence, Elliot, and Ivan. You guys made it a phenomenal show and good stuff. So we're going to take a 46-hour break. We got a good show coming up on Wednesday. So I was trying to get him on today, but I couldn't. So Wednesday we're going to have 2 state-winning high school football coaches. Todd Kuska, my former teammate and now the head coach at my alma mater at St. Rita High School. We're going to have Jordan Lynch, the young cat, 27, 28-year-old head coach of the Mount Carmel Caravan. We're going to have them on Wednesday. We're going to talk about the switching the spring football season and what they're doing now and how it's going to affect recruiting and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that plus more guests, we're getting more guests for Wednesday, but you definitely want to tune into that one. So for my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai, and for my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife himself, Ivan Vargas.
See you guys Wednesday.
I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. We'll see you in 46 hours. Until then, I got 2 words for you, folks. I'm out.
Hey guys, it's your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra, and I want to talk to you about my good friends over at the Hispanic Business Network, Carmen and Rogelio. They're having their annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. The proceeds benefit Hispanic Business Network Scholarship Fund for first-generation college students. Now, you've already been on the course many a time this year, so your clubs are ready to golf for a good cause. And by the look of it, it sounds like you're going to call in sick on Friday, August 7th. So listen, to register your foursome, go to the website, hbn-chicago.com. Or if you'd just like to donate, go to the website, again, hbn-chicago.com, and click on the donate button. Plus, Shawn and Maya will be broadcasting live from the Carriage Greens Country Club for the event, where we'll have surprise celebrity guests throughout the show. So listen, make plans to attend the Hispanic Business Network annual golf outing on Friday, August 7th at Carriage Greens Country Club in Darien. So to register your foursome or to just donate, go to hbn-chicago.com. Once again, hbn-chicago.com. So don't meet us there, beat us there.